if somebody would have came to us and said, in the future, there will be these devices that you guys will carry around with you everywhere. And there'll be apps for everything, including an app for dating. If you want to find somebody, you just open it up and you can swipe right and swipe
right or left yep.
and scroll, and you can find your ideal mate. And you can have sex with them that night. Well, we didn't have these kind of phones when I was in school. You
guys had like those Walkman things.
Okay, you're making me sound like I'm 50 years old now, Lils. Somebody asked, how do you go about hitting on a girl at the gym?
I don't remember. I think I was squatting. I was either squatting or deadlifting.
It's always in the squat rack.
Oh my God. He just like came up and he was like,
let me spot ya.
No, do you want to work out together sometime? Do you want to like collab?
Do you want to work out together? Come over and get some cardio after the gym.
Don't try to walk up and like puff your muscles.
You had to actually talk to girls to get their number back then. I was the sneaky person. I could text without getting caught.
Don't anticipate, participate. I don't know what person in their right mind can open an app and just look at a person, look at their highlights and be like, no, I don't want them. And it's like just not true. I don't really want to call it fake, but it's definitely fake.
I was gonna say it's fake. You can call it fake. You call a cat what's a cat.
The dating back then, you was you. Like, you were like raw, real.
Like we said, like
it is.
We had MySpace back in the day. So I'm really gonna outdate myself here.
My mom talked about that. Hey, I said hi. And then he was like, got any questions? And I was like, what is the worst thing you've ever lived through?
Wow, like that's deep.
And then you're like, bam, sitting on the table. So I was the devil child.
You would actually go out on dates with people. If you asked somebody out, you'd go out on a date with them.
Sorry about your luck, but my deodorant's more important than your oil. I dated a 16-year-old. That literally got me nowhere but being broke where they're at in life. And that's what women look for, is someone who is like hardworking. They're like well put together, or at least decently well put together. That's something we chase. Ow!
Kick them to the curb.
Ow. Line it up and you're like, we're lining it up. Like, there's so many snowflake people. I was in a situationship. Okay, like, I kind of want, like, that manly man, you know? Like, somebody who is gonna be able to protect me and open my pickle jars for me. Like, stomach fat, or too big of hips, or too big of a butt, or their thighs were too big. Is my waist small enough? Are my hips big enough? Do my boobs look okay? We need to slow down this roller coaster. It's literally like one big bomb that just blows it all apart. And I was like, would you be willing to do like farm work and stuff like that? And he's like, absolutely not. And I was like, and this is not for me. I was like, it was nice talking to you, but I can't
City
do
boys.
This. Like, no chick is gonna look at a dude and instantly be like, I wonder what his dick looks like.
Girls are tricky.
I trick myself sometimes, not gonna lie. Like, I was looking for it.
Do you think men are more weaker than they used to be?
They are. I hate it. I got a pickle jar stuck and he could not open it.
That person should feel like totally ashamed of themselves.
Like, oh my goodness, like I haven't posted in like so many days. Like, we gotta go to the gym.
Go to the gym just to take pictures and then leave. What do girls look for in a guy when it comes to like physique wise?
Kind of like how my dad's built. Like, that's like really weird to think about. I want to see the muscles.
Your dad's pretty jacked.
It's kind of like that, and you're getting deep with someone. Do my feet look weird? They build up the wall that they're like this super, super sweet guy until it comes down to a conflict. And then they're like...
Why do you think communication is such a hard thing for people nowadays?
It's a fear of judgment. It's a fear of like miscommunication and misunderstanding. I like looking at muscles. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm looking for my mom. So my mom's not here. And then I found out he had been cheating on me halfway through our relationship, and we were together for almost a year.
Like, if anybody has ever dated me, you know that truthfulness and honesty is the most #1 important thing to me. Do you think dating nowadays is just about sex?
Where you test drive before you commit. Oh, well, my body counts like 120. Don't open your legs until you know every single detail about them. Like, yo, pump the brakes here for a minute. No, you're funny. You're so funny. Look at you. And
the woman's mind always goes to a weird thing like that, you know?
It's because we overthink every single little thing, especially...
You do.
Because if there's something I don't know how to communicate about, I will send you a song. What
do you think are the keys to having a good, honest relationship?
Like, when you first get together, like, that spark is there and that puppy love is there. Like, and then eventually it just goes away because they throw all of like their problems on you at some point.
yes, hooray, dude, you're not a virgin anymore. Back in my day, they never even thought about that. Like, we were just happy to get a girl naked with us.
That's a personal problem. I worked so much to the point where, like, I couldn't even think for myself.
The gym is the least judgmental place you can go to.
It is.
People think it's the most judgmental. It's the least. Like, what should a bio say where you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna swipe right on this person to get to know him.
Or he'd send me random pictures of his food. I don't know what it
is.
is.
Get a dick pic.
Not a dick pic. That is an instant block.
Hear that, guys? Dick pics are an instant block. But there are a generation like me that are looking for a wife. We're looking for just a wife, not somebody to just go have sex with, but somebody to actually build a loving relationship with.
I was like, I'm gonna have to dumb this down, okay? I made it a plan where he wanted one last hug.
How much harm could a hug do?
I was like, I gotta pee, or we're just gonna be real out here.
And it's like a double-edged sword. Hey, that's okay. We talk about nonsense.
And I'm just like watching a video of you eating an egg, and I was like, Mom? I was like, I think this was meant for you, especially if it's like butt pics. But like,
your ass is looking great.
You might get a coffee cup thrown at your head. There.
A little bit of a red flag.
Quite a bit of a red flag.
What should guys do? What makes you want to swipe right?
I would like look at every little like inch of their photo, like not like that.
Filters should be removed, I think, from these apps. It's too easy to get catfish nowadays.
I look like a raccoon.
Now you know what people are saying right now. He is simping for you.
90% of your females have a chapstick collection. I would not be mad if I got proposed like to with a Walmart ring. I don't think simping is a bad thing. I was wifey type.
Like, why is my laundry not done? Was he that good in bed or something?
Not at all.
What should a guy put in their bio?
Like, I'm a pretty difficult person. Dogs are a green flag.
I think the key word to this podcast today is patience.
Dude, I'm gonna out myself right here, right now. Like, don't come on aggressively. Like, come on.
Give me a hug!
It's a little psycho.
Can guys compliment another girl while dating another girl?
Oh, don't be stupid, because I got tired of being like basically used for like a maid. Ooh, piece of candy. Like, they can just look at my photos.
There's some creepy people out there. I don't know if you should do that. Nobody works out of Planet Fitness. Yeah.
Like, don't be a he-man. It's like comparing like virgins to like an actual like brand new dealership. Maybe grab a drink, maybe have dinner, sleep with them, and then you leave.
Like, I am not familiar with any of these terms. There is a situationship, there is a relationship, there is talking, there is dating.
Excuse my French, Mom, but you can go hoe around.
When did this all evolve? Like, it's fascinating to think about because
somebody said cheating was okay.
I was in a situationship and I didn't even know it yet, and she ended up sleeping with him that night, even though she was there on the date with me. Some of these are kind of spicy, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what guys look for, is like those pictures before they sleep with someone. Cause I go for the older men, like the whole package. Like, you literally look like a meal.
Overthinking.
You're
always overthinking.
It just comes back to the overthinking.
Yeah. We are expected to perform as good as these sexual toys, and it makes us look bad because we're only human.
Don't hide stuff from like your partner that's gonna create like a major like conflict like further down the road.
What is happening, guys? Welcome to another episode of One Warrior Season 2. I have today with me a very special guest and also a topic today that I've been wanting to cover since last season, but I never found anybody last season. And so this has been a topic that I've been trying to get around for a while, but today we're going to be talking about dating in the modern world.
That's scary.
A very scary thing indeed. But today I have with me Lils Bauer. I almost said Tiff Bauer, your mom, because I had her on last week. But
I would have answered either way.
You would have. But I have Lils Bauer on here today. I call her Lils. Her real name Lily, right? Lily?
Yeah.
So I like to start out an episode with an elevator introduction to get the listeners to know who you are.
Okay.
So I meet you in an elevator, Lils, or Lily. How would you like me to talk to you today, Lils or Lily?
Just Lils.
Just Lils.
I hate Lily. Just Lils.
I like Lils better too. It flows better than Lily.
Yep.
But like, let's say I meet you in an elevator. Tell me about yourself, Lily. Lils.
I live out in the country. I have a dog, and I live with my parents.
What's your history? How old are you?
I am 18 years old.
Okay. So I want the people to know that we're talking to a legal adult here.
I'm a legal adult, I promise. I grew up in Blakesley. It was probably the first town I ever lived in was Blakesley. I was really little. We moved to Eden, and then moved to Bryan.
Blakesley, that's a village.
That is a village.
That's not even a town.
It's not even a town. It's very, very small.
And would you say your history with dating in a small town, have you ever dated in a city?
Yes and no. I have an ex that is from Toledo. Other than that, they've all been from like this general area.
Yeah.
I mean,
because dating in the city can be completely different too. I mean,
it's chaotic.
I'd love to have a person on the podcast just talked about that, because I remember going to college and
Oh my goodness.
dating in college in a city, Cincinnati, where I went,
Oh
is
my goodness.
a completely different world than dating around here. I mean, it's to the point. Cincinnati, like, you can pull up a dating app or in Cincinnati, be like, find somebody like within 10 minutes and you'll be out on a date and within a half hour.
Wow.
I have friends too that live in Cincinnati now, and they do the same thing. That's how things work down there. Okay.
It was kind of okay. So I'm kind of gonna like jump the topic.
Okay,
but,
jump it. Do it.
So when I turned 18, I was with a guy. I was not happy with him. So out of curiosity, like while in a relationship, it was really wrong of me, but I installed a dating app. It was like Bumble or something like that.
Yeah.
It was something that I saw for like the younger generation. And I was like, you know what, let's check it out. And I was on there. And like not even 10 minutes on there, I was like, what is this? Like, it's literally just everybody like throwing each other out there. Like just throwing themselves out there, not each other. And I was like, what is this world?
It's a crazy world, and it's like it's an advertisement. You're like saying you're putting yourself out there, building yourself up, only putting your highlights out there,
Yeah,
and
then,
waiting for somebody to swipe right on you. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody would have told me this back when I was in high school, we would have laughed at them that there would have been this technology. If somebody would have came to us and said, in the future, there will be these devices that you guys will carry around with you everywhere. And there'll be apps for everything, including an app for dating. If you want to find somebody, you just open it up and you can swipe right and swipe
right or
left,
left,
and scroll, and you can find your ideal mate. And you can have sex with them that night. It's like
they were flat out about that, weren't they?
I know, exactly. It's literally like if somebody said that to me back when I was high school, I'd been like, there's no way.
There's absolutely no way. When I was in the 5th grade, we had like that talk. It was just the puberty talk. Like, it wasn't like the sex talk.
Yeah.
And even that, they were like, I think Snapchat had just like came out, or it was like a newer app. And like there was so many warnings that were like, anybody under like 18 don't get this app. Like, it was basically like an adult sex app. And then like a bunch of the kids in like my graduating class, we all got Snapchat, and we all just like snapping each other, and we're like, we don't see what's wrong with this. And then in the middle of one of my classes, one of the chicks that I used to go to school with, she moved. She pulled out her phone and was like opening her snaps, and she had like a bunch of random people. She had like no idea who they were on there. And that was like the number one thing at the time, was only add people you know. That's still the thing, but like most people don't.
No.
And middle of class, teacher's standing behind her, and she opens like an inappropriate photo from a dude in front of a teacher. And ever since then, like, Brian was absolutely no phones. We've slowly gotten them back, but like,
You guys can have phones.
we're not supposed to have them out. It depends on the teacher.
Okay.
But most teachers, you know, like those old like calculator pockets that like hang up on the wall.
Yeah.
Those are now phone holders.
Are you serious?
We get a number, and if your attendance is in, like, if you're like there, your phone has to go in your number, unless you're told otherwise.
Well, we didn't have these kind of phones when I was in school.
You guys had like those Walkman things.
Okay, you're making me sound like I'm 50 years old now, Lils. We had flip phones.
Oh, okay.
We were the flip phone generation, and our generation, we didn't have social media, we didn't have Facebook and stuff, but we
You
were
had, like,
texting.
numbers,
We had
yeah.
text. We had actual numbers for people. You had to actually talk to girls to get their number back then, and you would text. Text on the table. And if you got yelled at, you'd get 3 strikes. You get yelled at 3 times. You have to turn your phone in. You get it back at the end of the day. That's how it worked. So there's actually holders that you come and put your phones in now.
Yeah, it's either that or this one teacher I had. She absolutely hated the sight of phones. Like, this teacher, I'm not going to out her because, like, I respect her for this so much. But she had a bin, like a blacked out bin in the front of, like, her classroom. And if she heard your phone go off, she would take it until, like, the end of the school day.
Mm-hmm.
And then she turned into the principal, and you had to go down to the principal just to get your phone back if your phone went off. So, like, half the time... We did play a prank on her last day of school. We all turned our ringers on and set like an alarm for like middle of the class. We all got sent to the principal's office.
We had a teacher actually that would, if you got called with the phone in class, she would keep it over the weekend.
Are you serious?
So if it was like a Friday.
I haven't had a teacher like that yet.
Yeah, we had one teacher. I'm not going to put her out there because she ended up being an awesome teacher. But yeah, it was if you got caught, she would be like, phone in the desk, you don't get it back till Monday morning. So we went the whole weekend without a phone. That never happened to me, but it happened to a few of my friends. So I was the sneaky person. I could text without getting caught. I don't think I only got caught maybe once or twice, maybe.
I don't know if I can go a weekend. Like, I have gone a weekend without my phone. It was amazing. But like, I don't know. I think the average high school like student, like thinking like my age, would not be able to, for how much like everything like we do day-to-day basis is based off of our phones. You have like your reminders and your alarms and like, hey, here's a calendar. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Like, hey, like there's a calendar. Like, it like reminds you like when your things are and like when they end, and they'll remind you like 30 minutes before so you can prepare. I don't know. Like, I use like a calendar app. It reminds me for everything.
I do too. My phone is like my personal assistant, you know.
Like when I went through the awakening, like I'm going through the banquet soon too. But like I was like, I don't know the schedule.
Yeah.
Like I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I should be at. Like I was like, I need a schedule. Like I don't care if there's like times or not on it. Like just tell me what we're doing next.
I'm also like that too. I like schedules.
And then like they were like, nope, you can't. Don't anticipate, participate. I was like,
that would be hard. I also plan out everything. Like
everything has to be like to a T, in order, planned out. I was like,
yes.
I was pulling my hair out by the end of the weekend.
I'm the same exact way. I mean, every day I'm like, I wake up in the morning. I know I work from 10 to 6. I know we have the gym. I know tonight I had a podcast. It's like routine based. My phone is like my personal assistant. Keeps me like that.
I have to have a routine. If not, I go nuts.
Same here. But so back in my day, the phones, there was no such thing as smartphones. There was no such thing as apps. We had texting, we had Snake you could play as a game. And some phones had solitaire. If you had solitaire,
we still have Snake
ones.
and solitary.
You can download apps, Shawn.
What about Tetris?
Mine never had a phone that had Tetris on it.
Really?
But actually, I had a brick phone.
It's just
one of my first ever phones.
Yeah.
I think I had a brick phone. Yeah, I know I had a brick phone, but I'm trying to think the games I had on there. I know I had Snake, and I maybe had Tetris. It was a little Motorola brick thing.
When we first had the phone conversation with my mom, we like would make a bunch of jokes. We were like, let me guess, like you can get Minecraft on there, because all it was a bunch of like squares. we were like making old jokes and stuff, and it to them it wasn't funny, but like to us, we're like we have like these like huge like tablet screens and like these like phone screens where everything is like in like every single little detail is like in place.
Yeah, my phone screen is 144 hertz. Like it's insane. Like that is that's more than more computers, and it's like this is more powerful than most computers. But back to the main topic, though. I mean, when we were dating back then, the cell phone was a tool to be used for dating. I wouldn't say it was a tool to get to date. Like that's the difference. Like cell phones back then were tools to use for dating, texting messages, texting sweet messages during the day and stuff. Yeah. Now they are tools to date. You absolutely need them to even get started dating. I
wasn't even on like whatever dating app it was for an hour, and my notifications were blown up with guys wanting to go on dates, and I was like, I'm not even ready for this. Like, I don't know what person in their right mind can open an app and just look at a person, look at their highlights, and be like, no, I don't want them. Oh yeah, I want them. No, I don't want them. I'm like, I have to meet the person like in person. Like my current, I met him through a friend of a friend. Mm-hmm. Like it was her boyfriend. It was his best friend. Like we had each other on social media, but like we really didn't talk. We like waited until we hung out. We're like, hey. And
it was a casual conversation.
It was just casual conversations. Like there wasn't like anything really there. We really didn't see a relationship in the beginning until like somebody put the thought of a relationship there.
And how long have you been dating this new guy?
A month, maybe.
A month. Okay. So it's still a very new conversation. Still very new.
Still very new. We did a week before we like actually started dating. We did try to make it mostly online based.
Oh gosh.
He works an hour and a half to 2 hours away from here, so he's only at home like on the weekends. So we're like trying to make it work online, and it's so difficult. Like I don't know how like anybody in this generation does it. Like I'm trying to do it, and I'm like, how do you guys do this?
It's hard.
Like, I miss him. And then, like, he's, like, texting me and, like, snapping me and sending me TikToks and other messages and stuff like that. And I'm just, like, come talk to me.
I have actually had a long distance online relationship. I've had a few, actually.
Whoa.
The last one was the most serious one. We had dated online for, I think it was like 6 months almost.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And
I did that once with a dude in Pennsylvania.
yeah,
It was like a year and a half.
this was from, where was she from? Illinois? Chicago, somewhere by Chicago somewhere. But I met her through a game online. We
That's
were playing a mobile
awesome.
MMO, and we found each other and started talking. We built a guild together and whatnot. It was a great time. But we decided to meet each other in person, and then the spark was not there. It just wasn't there. She was completely different than we had talked for so long. We had video chatted, all that stuff, and we met in person, and we just didn't hit it off. It was crazy. And
I've had a date like that. I had a Snapchat was kind of used as like a dating app.
yeah,
And my best friend, she was like, I'm going to send this guy to you. I think you guys would hit it off. I was like, okay. So we talked on Snap for like 2 weeks, met up with him, talked to him, had like a civil conversation, just like a normal conversation. And I was like, I don't see it. Like, I don't feel it. Like online, that was different. Like he was putting out like a fake front. And I think that is what is like the main difference between like when you were in high school versus when I'm in high school, because people can like hype themselves up, make them look like this great person, and then you look at them and you look at their background and everything else to them, and it's like just not true. I don't really want to call it fake, but it's definitely fake.
I was gonna say it's fake. You can call it fake. You call a cat what's a cat. A cat is a cat.
Yeah. So like I feel like there was like less hiding, and now there's like more hiding because like social media, like Snapchat, you have my eyes only. You can put a pin on it. You can hide like photos in there.
Mm-hmm.
On your Apple photos, you have Apple hidden. Like your gallery has like a hidden portion for like whatever photos you want to put in there.
Right.
And like I just feel like it, like the dating back then, you was you. Like you were like raw, real. Like I'm kind of stealing that church quote that from like my church, but like you were like raw, you were real. Like you were like, this is me, this is who I am, this is how I am. Like you just
accept it or don't.
Yeah. And now we're like, here's some like 6 really good photos of me, but don't look at the ones from the like on the daily. Like
it's all about advertising, like we said. Like
it is.
We had MySpace back in the day.
Oh
So I'm really gonna outdate myself
talks
here.
about that.
Talks about gosh. But yeah, we had a page, and it was so much better than Facebook. I mean, you could customize your entire page, like everything. Like you could make the borders colorful, your exact colors. You could add music to the background.
I heard about that.
Yes, and you could pick your top friends list. Like you could pick out your top friends, which caused a lot of controversy because people, when they saw they were moved down the list, you were like, dude, what happened with us? Why am I not?
Why did you move me down?
So there was a lot of drama brought up about that I'm glad Facebook doesn't have nowadays. But we could customize everything and basically put ourselves out there. But I don't even think we even used that. We didn't really for dating. It was more just building a persona of ourselves online. And I think that's kind of how it started. I think that's actually maybe what started the whole putting it out there, like
an advertisement,
advertising and putting your highlights out there.
Yeah.
Because social media is all about your highlights. Nobody has a bad day and posts such a bad day. Like,
well, I mean, well, some people do.
Some people do. There are some people that do, and sometimes I even do too. I'm pretty open on my social media.
I really only am on my Snapchat because like I have my public story where people who follow me that I don't follow back can like see, and then I have like my private one where like it's controlled who sees it and who does not, and I can see who sees it, and if somebody screenshots it or whatever, like I can see that they have done so.
That's the difference. It was private though, you know.
It's private, like it is like my people can see this. Like this is like my inner circle can see this. These people cannot see this unless I like put it on there.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to say here is like, people will only put the highlights out there. You know, they build everything upon highlights. And I think that's really gravitated to the dating world now too, because when you open up these dating apps,
you put like your pros out there. You're like,
right.
You're like, I got this award and I make this much per hour and I've done this and I've traveled here. But like, the first guy I talked to on the dating app, I was like, what is the worst thing? Like the first question I asked him, he said, hey, I said, hi. And then he was like, got any questions? And I was like, what is the worst thing you've ever lived through?
Wow.
Like
that's deep. Right off the bat.
The bat.
That's fantastic.
Right off the bat.
That's great.
I was like, if I'm gonna see a future with someone, I want to know what the worst like thing they've been through.
Are you sure you're only 18? That is deep, 18. Intelligent thinking right there.
I was like, because I'm not gonna get with you, and then you have like this huge like trauma built up, and then I get so far down the road with you, we start building a future, we start doing all this stuff, and then you're like, bam, sit it on the table. And I'm like, no, like be just don't put up a front, like be real with me. Like a friend of mine, she's like, she struggles with this. She has a lot to work on for herself. I think we know.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. But like I feel like that she hides that because it's just a trauma for her. She sees it as only a trauma, and I feel like I don't know, like
people are afraid to bring that out in the dating world though. They're afraid to open up, and because they're like, oh, I'm gonna get swiped left on them because people aren't gonna want that baggage. Yeah. Back in the day when you were my age, back dating, old fashioned times, no Snapchat, none of these apps and stuff. You would actually go out on dates with people. If you asked somebody out, you'd go out on a date with them, and you'd actually be face to face, talk to them, and you would learn right off the bat about these people. When these people that you're dating, what they're all about, within the first probably 20, 25 seconds, how interesting this person's going to be. Yeah. And if you're going to want to continue on with them. So
official dates that my parents did not set up because I was like super little. I think I've been on maybe officially 2 dates, and it was me who set them up. I was with a dude for like 7-ish months, and we went on 2 dates. We went just right in town, El Mariachi's, and then we stayed home and like cooked together. And like both of the times, like he was not very interested in like the together time. He was more interested by like what was going on around us, who was looking at us, who was judging us. I think we went out to eat. I think I watched him count his wallet like 6 times. In the 45 minutes we were there, I was like, I brought my wallet. I planned on paying for myself because I had a failed date prior. I really wouldn't call it a date because not even 10 minutes in, he left.
That's not a date. That's
so I was like, cool, dinner with myself. So So like when I go out with someone, like this is such a bad habit even now, like with a new relationship, I always carry at least a little bit of money on me. So if something goes wrong, I don't have to worry about like myself. Like
that's not a bad thing though.
But like he like kept counting his wallet, and then like later down the road he'd throw it in my face that he spent so much money on me and I didn't give him the same in return. Like, mind you, like, I'm a waitress, I'm a server, I work at a very small, like, diner, we don't get that busy. I don't make a whole lot. Like, what I make goes towards, like, what I want.
Right.
So I make sure my wants and needs are filled before anybody else's. Like, if I need deodorant and it's, like, 7 something with tax, and then you need, like, a thing of oil that's, like, 5 something, sorry about your luck, but my deodorant's more important than your oil. Sorry about your luck, but like, I don't know. Like, I just have like so many like failed relationships because I put my expectations up here. I'm like, this is what I expect out of you. Like, they're not like super ridiculously high. Like, you have to be like this like perfect person. Like, nothing wrong with you, no traumas. Like, fresh out the book. Like, that's not how I am. Like, I'll work with you like through your problems. And like that's been a conflict because I did like so much for a person and then got crapped on in return. And then I'm like, that's not gonna fly. Like, I was flat out with them. Like, most of my relationships have been mainly based over the phone because like busy lifestyles. I don't have time to drive a half an hour to come see you like every single day. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just not in my time frame. And like so many failed relationships due to like not spending enough time together, or just general conflicts that never got resolved. Because so I date a little bit older. I feel like they have more.
I've noticed that.
They have a lot more respect. They have a lot more respect. There's more to them. They're already like on the path that I want to be on and that I'm trying to shoot for. So like I dated a 16-year-old. That literally got me nowhere but being broke.
Yeah, I believe it.
I was like, I'm still recovering, and it's been maybe 3 months.
Why do you think that is? Like, I mean, that's typical of a lot of girls. They go for older guys. Why do you think that is?
They're like more respectful. They have like, they are more like onto the path of life. And 90% of them that I have experienced with, they can act the same as the younger guy. But when it comes down to it, like overall, they're just a better person where they're at in life. And that's what women look for, is someone who is like hardworking. They're like well put together, or at least decently well put together. I mean, they have a job, they got their crap together. Like, I mean, you look at like I'm with a 25-year-old right now. Sweet as can be, like like he's just perfect. And like I don't want to like call him perfect, because some people he's not. But to me, like, he's perfect. He's like well off in life. We both want the same thing. I'm like all I have to do is like get my own place and then be off on my way. And like we're already set off. Whereas I was with a 16-year-old and I was like, I'm ready to take these steps and I have to wait 2-3 years for you. I was like, I'm going to get tired of waiting. So either way, like if you're looking for someone to build a future with, somebody younger than you is not going to like, it's just not going to settle well.
On the girl side of things, like for me,
on the girl side of things,
the girls I've dated have all been younger than me, you know, and that's, so it lines up right with that.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, I don't mind that either. Like I like being the protector. I like being the provider. I don't even know how to word the word I'm looking for, but just the
one who like does the majority.
Right. Yeah.
Like not saying like you do it all, but the one that like just overall just provides like what is needed.
Right.
And that is something that like I've noticed, like women, like girls my age, that's something we chase. Going back to somebody I've dated, he'd be like, well, you got a job, you can pay for it. Or I mentioned getting like my first place, like moving out and being on my own, you know, doing the baby adult thing, as my mom says. And he was like, as long as you pay for it all, because I don't want anything to do with that.
Wow.
I was like, ow.
Kick him to the curb.
Ow. I was like, all right, that's fine. So like I stepped back, like I wasn't going to shoot for those plans yet. Like I probably could have worked my butt off for like a month straight, like serving and gathering my tips. And being able to put a down payment on a place if I really, really wanted to, because well, we were super busy at the time.
That's insane at your age. Yeah. That is really insane.
Like my goal was to work for that. And then he was like, well, you're gonna have to do it all by yourself because I don't want anything to do with that. And then you just lose motivation because that person, like that's also something with the older guys. They're like a motivator. They're like, here's what I want. Here's what you gotta do. Line it up. And you're like, we're lining it up.
It's a generation thing too. I mean, me and Dave Seidel talked about this. It's all about generations. Like my generation thinks of dating completely different than your generation. We were talking about even the men that are in your generation. There is a generation right now, the Generation Alpha. I think if I remember right from that podcast, they're the young. Is that you guys, Generation Alpha?
I think we're X.
X. Okay, so. Generation Alpha, I think, is the current, ones coming into.
Yeah, that's scary, but yeah.
That's what we just talked about. It's scary. We don't know if they're ever going to grow up, because. Yeah,
because like, okay, I'm going to kind of like bash on some parents, but so many parents, like, they baby and they protect and they don't discipline their children. Yeah. And then I get stuck serving and I have a kid that's throwing crayons and spaghetti and I go. Like I snap, like I go like mama mode for a minute. And I have had like some customers request a different server because I corrected their child. I was like, okay, well then you can scrub the spaghetti off of the wall and you can pick up those crayons because I'm not doing it. Oh, and there's some on the floor. Pick it up.
What do you think changed parenting? Because
I would say that some children got disciplined a little too hard growing up and it created a trauma and they looked at it more as like abuse. They looked at it as abuse and not discipline. Because I ran into a similar situation. It's just like it's looked at more as abuse instead of discipline.
That's interesting. I mean,
because there is a line.
Yeah.
And like I feel like with most parents that like do like that gentle parenting, they just don't see it right to hit a kid.
Right. There's some people that are against sport, like are against like paddling, and that could be a whole.
When I was growing up, okay, so I was the devil child. I'm just gonna say I was the devil child.
I'm surprised Bree wasn't.
Okay, I never listened. Like my mom would say like, "Don't touch that," and I'd go, like look at her like directly in the face and just touch it anyways. So we were in Walmart and I was just not listening, and my mom took me to the bathroom and she swatted me once with an open hand. It was like the law at the time. You're allowed like one open swat in public. Yeah. And some lady like came in, saw her, like I was crying obviously because I knew I was in trouble.
Right, yeah, like any kid.
and this lady thought that like mom was abusing me, like literally in the Walmart. And I was like as a kid, like obviously like I don't know what's going on. Yeah. And she's like, I'm gonna call CBS on you. And my mom's like, here's my number, and gave her my number. And this lady like walked out. Like there are so many like snowflake people. Yeah. I'm just gonna call them snowflakes.
Good. Somebody finally used the term snowflake. I love that term. I love
using that term. Yeah. Like there's so many snowflake people because like they see what has been done to them as abuse, and it's not abuse if you deserve it.
That's good. I like that. I feel like there's more people than just that, though. I think that have been not even abused per se, but they also fall into that category. They're afraid to punish their child.
Yeah,
because I know people personally that were not punished as a child,
and they're like they're horrible.
Well, they grew up good. They make a lot of money. They make a lot more than me. Yeah. And their kids are devil children. Mm-hmm. Why? What would cause that? You would think if somebody is successful enough to make as much money as they are, they would know how to raise kids to be as successful as they are.
There's no discipline.
But why? What changed?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
Yeah, exactly. I still can't answer that to this day. I don't know. It's just an interesting thing.
I'm going to have to say, like, the view on the world changed. Like, for a while, everyone, okay, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm not against it, but everyone was like, there are two genders, male and female. Yeah. And then people started liking same sex. Yep. And then it got welcomed in the world as normal. Yeah. And I feel like that creates a lot of conflict because like my like society now says that that's okay. And then you have like the older generations and they're like, that's not okay. Like that's not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I feel like that creates a lot of conflict. So a lot of it has to do with how like a person independently sees what is right and what's wrong. Mm-hmm. And then it just slowly kind of rubs off on anybody and everybody around them. And then it also rubs off on their children. So then they're like, you know, hitting is not okay. Discipline is not okay. I can act like this and get away with it. So it's just kind of like comes down to like the parent and what the parent had went through and what the parent sees as what.
Is this just going to keep getting worse and worse?
I'm afraid it might. I know for one, I will discipline as a parent because my children are not acting like the kids that I see in Walmart on the daily. Yeah. Like I applaud Mennonite families for correcting and disciplining because like I know in a Mennonite family, they have maybe 11 kids.
Wow. That's a lot of kids.
Like they have came into my work before and like my coworkers were like, oh my goodness, these kids are going to be all over the place. Like so many people are like, they're going to be rambunctious and rude and all over the place. And you can't even tell they're in there. They
ended up being some of the best customers probably.
They're like literally like the best kids in the end. Okay, a couple of them are a little questionable, but they're little boys, so it's fine. Right. But like, I feel like the discipline in the world has just gone away. Like everything is like, oh, like that's what you believe? Okay, that's fine. Bye.
Do you think that's affected dating?
It has. It has. I was in a situationship, which is like, you're not.
That's one of my questions. Today. We will get to that. Go ahead and what's your story? That's one of my questions.
I was in a situationship, and I like, personally, I don't support them, but I don't hate them. Like when like the LGBTQ community, like I don't hate them. I just like, I am a Christian. This is what I know. This is what I'm going to follow. I was like, that's cool. Like you can do that over there, but don't shove that like on me. I was like, I will respect you as a human being, but I'm going to call you by your legal name. Like if you ask me to call you by a different name, I might. If you're lucky, I might. But whatever your name badge says or whatever your birth certificate says, like I'm going to call you that. Like that's how I know you. Like, and I was with this guy and he said he was bi. And that was kind of a red flag. I was like, okay, like I kind of want like that manly man, you know, like somebody who is going to be able to protect me and open my pickle jars for me. Like
that's great. That's good though.
It is good though. Like I need that manly man. And we talked maybe a week and a half and I spotted him a question. I was like, I want like I kind of want like a little baby farm. Like I don't want like a huge farm, but like I want like a decent sized farm. Like I want cows, pigs. Like of course they're all gonna go through like the whole butcher thing, and we're gonna basically eat homegrown stuff.
Nice.
Like that's what I want in life. Like I want that farm. And I was like, would you be willing to do like farm work and stuff like that? And he's like, absolutely not. And I was like, and this is not for me. I was like, it was nice talking to you, but I can't
City
do
boys.
this. And I blocked him. I was like, I need that person where if I can't, for some reason, I can't lift up one of my hay bales on my own and be like, hey, can you do this? Or here lately, I've been pretty independent on my own, where I'm just going to figure out a way to move from point A to point B, whether I look ridiculous or not.
Do you think men are more weaker than they used to be?
They are. I hate it. I hate it. I dated a guy, got a pickle jar stuck, and he could not open it. And I ended up just wiping it off with a towel and popping it and got it myself.
That
like,
person should feel like totally ashamed of themselves.
And at the time, like I hadn't started working out or anything, so I still had like just the normal day-to-day muscles. And I don't know, I've kind of like worked out. Like I used to work out a lot, like when my dad first started, and then my mom got into it, and like we're all working out, and I've kind of eased off like quite a bit.
You just started a fitness account. I follow you on your fitness.
I use that like as a motivator, because like I look at it, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I haven't posted in like so many days. Like we got to go to the gym.
Go to the gym just to take pictures and then leave. Won't be some of those people.
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. I promise.
I mean, we know people that go to the gym just make TikToks and leave.
Oh, I know. I don't. I've never made a TikTok in the gym. Like I always
You're in that generation.
I am. I always get so embarrassed about even when I take videos and like stuff for my Instagram, like I always get so embarrassed when like somebody walks by and I'm like, I didn't do it.
So the age-old question, here it is, for the guys out there, what do girls look for in a guy when it comes to like physique-wise?
Physique-wise?
Yes.
I want to see the muscles.
You want to see the muscles.
I like looking at muscles, especially like in the arms.
Yep.
It kind of tells you they're like a hard worker. They work for like what they want. Veins are up there too. I mean, they're just it just makes the arms look good. Like not exactly like abs. Like if you're like not like chunky, like coming from like somebody who works out. Like I don't want somebody who's like chunky. Like I'm pretty chunky myself, but like when I'm looking at like a dude, I'm like kind of like how my dad's built. Like that's like really weird to think about, but
okay,
like
there you go.
But like he doesn't have abs. He's not fat, and
Your dad has abs.
He does not have abs.
Yes, he does.
I live with him. He does not have abs. Okay, maybe I just don't look that close.
He's got abs.
I don't look that close at my own dad.
Your dad's pretty jacked. Her dad is my training partner. We train the gym together, and we push each other. So I know her dad real well.
But not like super super fit. Like you see like them bodybuilders where like
so bodybuilding,
no, that like seeing like how the veins pop out and you could like look at them wrong and they pop, that is like absolutely nasty to me. Like
So I'm pretty vascular. Like, how about my vascularity? It's cold in this house, but I'm not as vascular as I usually am. But like
that's fine.
Okay.
But I follow a guy on Instagram, or I used to, and like his veins were so bad that like he got into an accident. He dropped a weight too hard on his arm and it popped one of his veins.
Oh my gosh.
And he had to go to the hospital. He was hospitalized for a month.
That's really lean to be able to do something. I mean, that's a very lean person.
Yeah, like that's just nasty to me. Like I like somebody who's like not exactly like super, super fit. And I don't want like a super heavy person, like that perfect like in between where like if you need them to be like hella muscular, they can be there. But if you need somebody who's going to be like a little bit on the softer side, so like when you're cuddling, you're just kind of like leaning into each other or whatever, like it's comfortable.
Okay, that brings up another question. A lot of guys are probably thinking, okay, that's about physique. What about strength aspect? Does strength matter? Let's say
a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. The guy I'm with now, he does, I don't remember what he said he does, but he like, it's like pipe work and stuff like that. So like building forms and stuff like that.
Very
like,
laborious.
Very, very laborious. I don't know. When they do like a hard, like, it's called blue collar work, like in society now. But when they do that work and they have to like be patient and communicate and work in these job sites with others, it also kind of shows you that they have the patience to deal with like the stubbornness of women nowadays. That's
interesting. Yeah. Just because they're getting along in their team? Is that what you mean? Like, because they have to work in a team environment, so that kind of shows?
It's like the patience of like the workforce.
Okay.
So like when you like go to work out, say you're at the gym, you go to work out. And Dudeski's been on the same machine for like a half an hour and you're just like waiting for them. Like you go find other stuff to do.
Yeah.
When I see that, I'm like, oh, like they've got patience. Like they know how to just figure something else out and then circle back to it. Like it's kind of like that, but we look for that in like conversations. Like when you're having a conversation with someone and you're getting deep with someone and then you're like, can we just put a pause on this? Like this is like super deep and like we just need a break from this. Or when you're doing something together and you're getting frustrated with each other, you like they don't get as frustrated because they work 10 times harder at their job site. Like it's just kind of like looking at it as like an all-around perspective. And they communicate. Like they have those communication skills. Yeah. Like I love that from him because he's like, hey, you know, you said this or you posted this and I'm not okay with that. Like that just makes me extremely uncomfortable. Like what if you like what if I posted something like vice versa and like they put themselves in your shoes and they put you in their shoes. And like they communicate through everything. And that was with a guy who would bottle it up until like just randomly one night at 11 o'clock at night, I would tell him goodnight. And he just sent me this giant paragraph ripping me apart left and right.
You didn't talk to you in person about it? He just sent you No. Texted you it?
We would literally hang out that day. I would get home. He would get home. And I'd be like, thank you for spending time with me. I really enjoyed it. And then I would get, oh yeah, you're welcome. Oh, by the way, huge paragraph ripping me apart.
Did you sense anything when you were out on that date by this guy that might be coming?
No.
Really?
No. I've experienced with a few guys that they build up the wall that they're like this super, super sweet guy until it comes down to a conflict. And then they're like...
all the shit hits the fan and it's all released.
Yeah.
It comes back to communication, which is, I think, what these
communication is big to me.
It should be.
Yeah. I mean, like if you cannot like communicate to me how you're feeling and then you just blow up in my face, that is not okay to me.
Communication since the day of dawn, it's been an important thing from even like, Adam and Eve. They had to have communication.
Like, you always hear like the quote or whatever, like communication is key. To me, communication is key. It's the communication, the respect, how you treat me and how you treat my family. If you come over to my place and instantly like bully or try to like be funny with like one of my siblings and then like they just don't take it the same way you put it out, like I'm gonna communicate and be like, that's not okay. And then if you continue to do it, you're not gonna come over.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to protect my family from you, and eventually you're going to lose me.
Why do you think communication is such a hard thing for people nowadays? Because it really is. I mean,
they can hide behind their screen.
And they're used to it.
They get so used to being like, oh no, I'm fine, and then whipping up TikTok, finding a super, super happy like TikTok, and then being like, oh look, I'm in a good mood, and bottle it down until they're alone that night. And then you get 5,000 snaps of them crying and them like blasting it all over their story, and you're like, dude, I was just with you not even an hour ago. Like, we could have talked about this.
I've literally experienced this very thing. It's insane, but it's so true, and it's such a common thing too.
It's nowadays. Exhausting because like I hung out with one of my now ex best friends. We would hang out, we'd have such a great time. Like, we'd go out, we'd go do things, like we had so much fun. We'd spend money we probably shouldn't have spent, but like it was part of the experience with each other. And then not even like an hour after us hanging out, she would like blow up her story and like send everybody like these huge like sappy snaps about how she's gonna like off herself and whatever else. I'm like, dude, we literally just hung out. Like, what are you doing?
That's insane.
I was like, we could have talked about that instead of like going to 5,000 stores and blowing money we shouldn't have blown. Like, is it because of fear, you think? People are afraid. It's a fear of judgment. It's a fear of like miscommunication and misunderstanding, which I've had a few instances of misunderstanding and miscommunication in my relationship already. And I feel like it's because we focus on what society says. And he's like I'm trying to be better about my faith, honestly, like all the way around. And he grew up in the church. He stepped away from the church. They went Catholic. They went to a Catholic church. I'm so sorry for him. I'm so sorry for him. But like, that's what he knew as a church. And now he goes to church with us literally every Sunday, whether he has his kid or not.
That's awesome. So he's made that adjustment for you.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, would you take another step forward? Like, I offered the banquet to him. And at the time we had he literally just started going to church with us. And I was like, I don't know if that's too soon. And my mom was like, well, still ask him. So I asked him. And he was like, not yet, maybe next round. I was like, what? Like, I asked one of my most recent ex, I was like, would you be willing to like take further steps, get baptized, get into it more, like actually fulfill that with me? And he was like, no, I only go because you go.
Well, he was honest with you though.
He was honest.
That's a good thing that he was honest.
And then right after that conversation, he stopped going to church with me like altogether.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so this is where this relationship is going.
I mean, you got to think of it like this. Are you glad? You should be happy that it happened right away and not like 2 years down the road. Yeah. You guys were planning a family together. Yeah. And then you're like, oh shit, person I'm with doesn't want to go to church with me. You can't push people into faith. You just can't.
No.
They have to choose it for themselves. They have to find God for themselves. That's what I tell people. You can't. You can teach people, things. If they want to listen, they can listen, but they have to find that path on their own.
We were even on like a really good track too. Like, there's like pastors on TikTok. We would send each other like messages or like little glimpse of their messages like on TikTok. We like listen. We talk about them like on text message or on FaceTime. Like, we'd FaceTime and be like, well, this is what I read. Is this what you meant? Like, making sure that like it was all there. We were like doing daily devotions together. He would come to church with me. I bought him a Bible. And like, we were doing everything. And then just one day he just stopped. He just didn't want any part of anything.
Did he speak to you why though? Did he tell you about why that was?
He said something about how like his dad was very like anti-Christian. So the fact that we were together already was not okay with him. And he listened to his dad about literally every single little thing. So if there was a conflict in our relationship, he would vent about it to his dad. Which, like, I vent about my problems, like, to my mom. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm looking for my mom. It's my mom's not here.
It's healthy to vent. It's very healthy to vent.
But, like, I feel as though, like, she is my safe place. Like, I can be like, this is what's going on. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, and she'd, like, just give me some wisdom. And then his dad's the complete opposite. Like, that was like our main problem in our relationship was it was basically dating his dad and not dating him. Oh. So like the validation and venting to others is there's a difference between like communicating and asking for like advice and wisdom rather than listening to every single thing that somebody else says that has like ruined their past relationships.
Okay, so reiterating,
Yeah.
basically taking what their parents say and using that for your advantage in their relationship.
Yeah, like take like bits and like don't take everything they say because like we all have different experiences with dating.
Oh yeah.
Like I could like look at my little sister. She can ask me a question about dating. It could be something like serious, and I could tell her my side, and then I'm gonna look at her and go, I can't promise that's how it's gonna be, but that's what I know. Like she had issues with a little boy. Like last year, he was wanting certain things, and I was like, don't do it.
I remember hearing about this.
It's a trap. Don't do it. Like that's how he's gonna suck you in. That's how he's gonna be like, well, I did this for you and we did this, so you have to do this for me. I'm like, don't fall into that. Yeah. I fell into that. Don't fall into that. Yeah,
stay strong. You know, it's stay to your own beliefs and don't let other people influence you either. You know,
that other people influence is also a big thing in like today's dating world, because you can like, I talked to a guy and the dude's ex had contacted me telling me like every bad thing about this person, about this dude. And I was like, okay, like I'll keep that in mind. I was like, I took 3 of the things she said. They were like pretty basic. Like he likes to hide things, he'll lie to you. Like simple stuff like that you look for in relationships anyways. She said that he was really, really bad at it. And I was like, okay, like I'll keep that in mind. So we went on like our relationship and he kept lying to me. And then I found out he was hiding a bunch of things from me. And then I found out he had been cheating on me halfway through our relationship. And we were together for almost a year. I was like,
oh.
I was so blind.
But he was lying to you though up until then. What was that? Should have been a big sign to you that
I was like,
if he was lying about you to that.
It was like little stuff. I'd be like, what'd you do after school? He'd be like, oh, I came home. And in reality, he went to his buddy's house, hung out for an hour, and then came home.
There was no reason to lie about that.
I was like, I don't care if you go to your buddy's house. Go to your buddy's house. If you need to go to your buddy's house, like go have guy time. Like that is like my big thing. I'm like, if you need like alone time with your friends, literally say so. Like I will leave you alone.
Why was he putting the wall there for things like that even? That's insane.
He wouldn't ever talk to me about anything. So
you guys were with each other for almost a year though.
Yeah.
Why? That's my number one. Like if anybody has ever dated me, you know that truthfulness and honesty is the most number one important thing to me.
I felt bad.
You felt bad.
I felt bad. So he had a history of like suicide and stuff like that. So I was like, if I leave, like, he's like, he would threaten that he would off himself.
Wow.
He would threaten that, like, just a whole bunch of stuff. And then when we broke up about a month later, he got with, it wasn't even like a month later, it was like 2 weeks later, he got with a different girl, and he would like literally text her and tell her that he missed me, and they would send her videos of him like cutting and like his wrists and stuff like that.
Gosh.
Like this dude was psycho.
Turn the mic a little bit there.
My bad.
You're good.
My bad. But like this dude was like absolutely psycho. And like that should have been my red flag. But like I was like, I just felt bad. I was like, I don't want to be the reason or like the blame that somebody was like, well, you left him, so like you caused that. And I'm like,
so you were afraid to leave basically. You were kind of trapped, you felt like, right?
I stayed with him for 6 months because I felt bad. And then I found out that he had been like cheating on me and like talking to other girls. He had 3 dating apps on his phone. And then like now when I come into like new relationships, I'm like my most recent ex, I was like, I don't want you talking to like any other girls. Like I had like so many walls up. I was like, I just want like a controlled environment, like a controlled relationship. Like it's just you and I. Like you can have your like dude friends, I'll have my chick friends. Like that's all we need. Mm-hmm. One of his buddies' sisters added him on Snap or whatever, so he added her back. I was like, you know what? It's fine. And then, like, I saw the way that they were talking to each other, and, like, to me, like, it was, like, a little flirtatious. And I was like, yo, pump the brakes here for a minute. I was like, that's not okay. And he called me crazy, saying I was overreacting. And then I found out that Chick and Chick's best friend, all 3 of them So the two chicks were sending him nudes, and he was sending them nudes in return
Oh
while we
my
were together,
gosh.
and he played it off as it was just in case he couldn't reach his buddy.
That's insane.
That literally destroyed me.
Do you think it's a requirement to, because in my last relationship, I naturally did this. Like, I went through in my last relationship, deleted all the social media chicks I follow. Like, if they had put out bikini pictures and all them, they were deleted because I was really happy with my relationship. I didn't want anything messing that up. No risk to me was worth, losing that relationship. So I didn't care how long I had followed these chicks. If they posted lewd things out there, they were deleted. Do you think it's a requirement for guys to do that?
I don't think it's a requirement, but it does cause like less conflict, especially if they work somewhere where like their uniform, it's really, really showy. Like my current boyfriend and I, we ran into this problem. Him and his dad like to go to Twin Peaks sometimes. Twin Peaks is basically like Hooters, but they show more.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, no, you're funny. You're so funny. Look at you. And then I realized like he was there. And I realized that like him and his dad were like sat down, they already had their drinks and their food, and I was like, I cried. You
didn't like it.
I was like, what if there's something going on that like, I don't know about? And
the woman's mind always goes to a weird thing like that,
It's because we overthink every single little thing, especially.
You do.
I'm even guilty of it. He went to Twin Peaks, and like my first thought was, he follows some of the waitresses there, like on Instagram. I was like, these are the chicks he's going to see. I was like, what if there's something going on in the background? I was like literally freaking myself out. And then like the whole time he was just snapping me, and he was still texting me, and I could see like his every background, and there was like nobody near him, and I was like, I'm working myself up for literally no reason right now.
More often than not, I believe women are working. I mean, there are the outliers, there are the cheaters, they are out there for sure. But more often than not, give your guy the benefit of the doubt, I think, because I just kind of like, I lean back a little bit. That's good.
I was like, hey, like I was open with him. I was like, I just like fully stressed myself out over this. I was like, but I'm going to trust you. I was like, just give me a second. I'm going to go for a walk, take a breather. I was like, that's not fair to you. I was like, just give me a second. And he goes, go to the gym. I was like, what do you mean? Like, what's that supposed to mean? Like, instantly I was like, what are you saying, buddy?
Yeah,
and
really.
He was like, go to the gym, put your earbuds on. There's a playlist through my Spotify with your name on it. He goes, listen to it and do your workout. So I was like, okay. So I did so. And like afterwards, like I just felt so much better. I was like, I just needed like that little bit of reassurance. So now like anytime like I feel like there's a conflict between us, just turn back to that playlist and I just listen to music. Like that's how I like to communicate, is through music, because if there's something I don't know how to communicate about, I will send you a song. I'll be like, this is like low-key how I feel. Like this is like
that's a popular thing nowadays. My last relationship did that too.
Yeah. Like if I feel like, if I'm just super, super low, like mentally, and I don't want to communicate about it, just listen to what music I'm listening to, listen to the tone, listen to what it's talking about, listen to the beat. Like you can just tell. And I feel like that's a really bad habit that this generation has created, because 90% of the kids I go to school with, they do that and then they don't talk about their actual problems.
They use it as an outlet. Like for example, I mean, you can use anything for an outlet. You can use the gym for an outlet, video games, music, it doesn't matter. But the crutch is, if you just use that without talking, that is when it can create a problem and build up basically over time. And it all comes back, communication and honesty is, I'd say, probably the number one things in a relationship to make things work. I think there's let me ask you this first. What do you think are the keys to having a good, honest relationship and communication? Like, are there things that a couple can practice and put into play that can keep them being honest with each other? Are there tools that you can do?
I don't know. Like my boyfriend and I, like we're like pretty open about everything. I'll be like I'll ask him how his day was, how his work day was, ask him like what all happened. Like he'll like randomly FaceTime me throughout the day when he's got some downtime at work and be like, hey, I miss you, I love you. And like that is like the stuff that I look forward to. So just making sure that like like when you first get together, like that spark is there and that puppy love is there. Like, and then eventually it just goes away because they throw all of like their problems on you at some point. And something we did was the first night we like hung out officially, like started talking, we like distanced ourselves from like, it was like kind of like a New Year's, like it was, it wasn't, it was like 2 weekends before New Year's, and we were all like hanging out, and like we like just distanced ourselves from like the little like pre-New Year's, it was like somebody's birthday, I think, like like a little party that we all went to like that night, and like we just distanced ourselves. We're like, and he just asked me, he was like, what is one of your biggest traumas? And I was like, so I'm not the only one that asks super, super deep questions on like the first, like you not really date, but like the first like talking stage, like the situationship date. And so we just kind of told each other like about like our past, like growing up, anything that like might have like affected us, like day-to-day life, how our past relationships affected us. Like we were just like super like straight up and forward with each other right there and then. And like we like even like 3 days ago we had that conversation again. Like I had done something and I did not catch myself before I had done it because I had been working on like those toxic traits I had picked up, like working myself out of them. And then one of them just like randomly popped back up and it happened again. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, we need to slow down this roller coaster because like, that's my fault.
I think there's a tool that, and I know a couple people that have used this technique, and it sounds weird and upfront, but it kind of makes sense when you think about it. Basically, the rule or key of thinking is every few days, like on an interval, basically of every like 3 to 4 days, you guys talking and being like, are we good? Are we okay? Do you still have the same feelings for me?
I don't do that.
Do you think that's important in the beginning, though, in the first year to 2 years? Because you explained something very important there, puppy love. That is a thing people fall into, and once that phase goes away, if both parties are not 100%, it falls away and it crashes. It goes to pieces.
It's literally like one big bomb that just blows it all apart. I know something with us that we have done. Like there really wasn't a puppy love there. Like when we first met each other, I was still with my most recent ex. I was like, you know what? Like I am loyal to him. Like I'm not even gonna look at this dude like the same way. And then saw him again another weekend. We went to that party. I had added him on Snap like 3 days before. We had caught up, and he asked me if I was coming with like I'm just gonna put it out there, Lane and T. I was like, yeah, like I'm coming with them. I'm like, why? What's up? He goes, I was just wondering. And I thought nothing of it. I was like, oh, okay, chill beans. And then like I got there, and he was like, he would not leave my side. Like when we were playing cards, he made sure he sat like right beside me.
Okay.
He like if I went to like get a Gatorade or get another like Dr. Pepper, he made sure he went with me and made sure that I got there and back safe. So I was like, okay, maybe it's because I'm new up here and I don't know anybody. Like I didn't think anything of it. Like I was trying to give him like the benefit of the doubt that he was just being a nice guy. And then we left, and T was like, well, what'd you think of him? I was like, think of who? Like, I was like so clueless. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, and she was like, of Jake. She's like, what'd you think of him? I was like, he was nice. She goes, that's it? And I was like, yeah. She goes, okay, well, he's coming to church in the morning. And I was like, that's gonna look really bad.
Yeah, so, okay. This is interesting. This brings up a whole nother idea here that I just jotted down because it's fascinating. You know, back in our days, we had cell phones that didn't have Snapchat and stuff. Yeah. So when we were dating somebody, we had that person we talked to, and like our friends, you know, followed what was called a code, and we would not add that person on or text that we wouldn't have that person's number. Yeah. It'd just be weird. Like if I was dating a girl and my friend asked her for her number, I'd be like, dude, what the hell? I'm dating this chick. You know, it was an alarm. What's the difference nowadays? Because you think about it, it blows my mind. You're dating somebody and another guy will come to you and get your Snapchat, you know, and you'll be Snap friends. Yeah. It's just weird to think about. And I wonder if that has created so much controversy in this day and age.
So I am not like that.
Okay. You are not. But didn't you just say you added him on Snap?
I added him on Snap because, okay, so at first we were in a group chat. It was all 4 of us. I had not had T's current boyfriend on Snap yet, and I did not have him on Snap yet. And then it was like T had her like current, and then her current had Jake. So like it was just kind of like lined, and like we were just all in the same group chat. Like I hadn't had 2 of the people in the group chat added. And then like Lane had added me. And I was like, you know what? Like I asked T, I was like, is it cool that I add him back? Like I'm not one to add like other chicks. It
was asking for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, is it chill? Like I don't want to like overstep a boundary. And she goes, yeah, go ahead. And then like Jake had added me on Snap, and I was like, I'm gonna let that sit there for a little bit. So I let that sit there for like, I think it was like 2.5 days, and then I texted Lane because it still said that like the little active sign there that he was still waiting for my approval, and I texted Lane and I was like, should I approve this? I was like, is there something that you guys are trying to like set up? And he goes, no, just go ahead and approve it. And I was like,
sounds like a setup.
I was like, this sounds like a setup, but approve. Accept.
Okay, you weren't happy though in your current relationship at the time though either, were you?
No.
You were having problems.
So you were the last like 3 months of our relationship, all we did was fight. We argued. You probably saw it on my face at the gym. I was told I always looked miserable, like no matter where I went.
I wouldn't say miserable, but
like constantly like tired and like exhausted, and there was like something wrong. So, and I didn't see that at first. I let that go on for about a month to like 2 months. I think we like just hit 2 months, and then somebody brought it to my attention, and they're like, what is wrong? Like the last 2 months, like you just look absolutely miserable and exhausted, and you look like you never sleep. And I was like, that's because I literally was not sleeping, because like he would create these conflicts and then just fall asleep and go to bed, and then I would be like sitting there like figuring out like what to say, what to make it better, what to like just so many like expectations, and like by the morning he would want me to create like the solution to make it all better. So it was very exhausting, and like I quit going to the gym. I worked so much to the point where like I couldn't even think for myself. I quit going places. Like I literally would just lay, like I still sometimes do this because I created it like it's a habit, but I just lay around. Like if I'm not working, I lay around. If there's nothing to do, I'm gonna sit. I'm just gonna relax, because like that's something like as a habit that I have gained. And now like Jake, he's like, why are you home? Like, go do something. Like, go be active. He's like, you have your license now. Like, just go do something.
That's good. He's being supportive.
Yeah, he's like, dude, he asked me like 3 days ago. He was like, when are you gonna go back to the gym? He's like, I haven't seen any gym posts lately. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I just didn't give it much thought. And then, I struggle really, really badly with self-image, and like being called beautiful and pretty on the daily. Like that makes me feel good. That makes me like, you know what? Like, like I've worked for this. Like I am. And then like, I don't know, like last night, like something hit me out of the blue, and I was like, I've tried losing weight so hard and I'm not going anywhere. Like I just fell apart. And he woke up the next morning and he's like not saying anything, like not trying to call you fat or anything. He's like, but how long has it been since you've gone and worked out? I like stopped. I was like, 3 weeks? And he's like, did I throw off your groove? He's like, am I the reason why you stopped going? And I was like, I would go like before work or after work or on my days off. And for a while there, I was working like every single day. And then on the weekends, I was like hanging out with him and T. We were going places. We're going to the beach. We were going and getting sunburned.
I can tell.
Going and getting sunburned. And then like, I just never went back. And like last night I was like, I need to go back. Like that, it was like basically free therapy. I was like, I need my therapy back.
That's good though. He's supportive of you though. And he's not trying to be, I can tell too.
He wants to come to the gym too. I didn't even have to ask him.
Nice. Me and Josh will be welcome to take him under our wing.
He's scared though. He doesn't want, so his buddy Lane has gone to the gym with us, like, I think like maybe once. but he's scared to get like made fun of because like he has like these like little baby chicken arms.
Everybody's always afraid to come to the gym. It's like,
just go.
I'd say the
Just
gym
go.
is the least judgmental place you can go to.
It is.
People think it's the most judgmental. It's the least because everybody's focused on themselves. Everybody's working on themselves.
like I'm not exactly like the skinniest person, but I can tell you for one, I've gone in there and worked out in a sports bra and leggings, and like literally just nobody cares. And at first, like I was so scared to do it. Like I wear baggy shirts to the gym because I'm like, I don't want anybody looking at me. There's no judgment at the gym. If that is why you're not going to the gym, that's not a thing. That's a personal problem.
Yeah, it actually is. It's people are too worried about themselves at the gym.
It is.
It really is.
It is. So I'm like slowly working on getting him like to the gym. But like every weekend he works all throughout the week. And then on the weekends, we're not like out doing things like double dates and stuff with Lane and T. He has his kid. And I don't want to like have his kid in the gym while we're trying to work out and then like be more focused on like taking care of him. And I don't want to dump his kid in like someone's lap and be like, can you watch him for like an hour? Like we're going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do that to someone. So like just finding time like in both of our schedules is difficult.
Yep.
But like he gets his workout at work.
Yeah.
Those forms aren't exactly heavy or not exactly light.
Flipping things back to the dating app, because I know people are having questions. What is something people can do? Like, okay, what should people make in their bio? Like, what should a bio say where you'd be like, okay, I'm going to swipe right on this person to get to know them.
So when I made mine, I put 3 pictures out there. I put a mirror pic that I had just recently taken. It was literally like baggy tee and sweatpants. I think I had my hair in a clip, maybe some mascara on.
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna be really real with this. Like, this is what I look like on the daily. Here you go, guys. Like, maybe mascara. I put on like a decent shirt, and I've worn these jeans like 3 days in a row. Let's be real. And then I put like a nicer photo on there. I think it was from like one of the formal events I'd gone to. It's probably like prom or my church does a classy Christmas for the youth. It was like just basically a fancy, like a reason just to dress up for the church. So like prom dresses. So I had like posted one of those, and then I posted a picture from we went on like vacation to like the UP or something. It was just like I think a picture Brie had taken of me with the sunset. It was cute, but it wasn't like out there. Like it was like just a simple photo. I had put that on there too, and I had my age. I didn't put exactly where I was from. I said Ohio because like there was like a choice. We can be like Bryan, Ohio, and I was like, let's just do Ohio. Like that's a little out of my comfort zone. And then like in my bio, I think it said something about like just like small town raised. I mean, like I was pretty real about it. I was like, any questions, just ask. Like there really wasn't much there because like I didn't know what to put. I was like, I'm not gonna put my whole life story out on this thing. Like if you have a question, ask me. Yeah. Like just be like upfront about it.
And I'd say, Lils, you're like a needle in a haystack because being on the other side of that, that is not what we see as guys. We see glorified, filtered pictures, like
edited and like filtered
and yes, exactly, edited, filtered, and also tons of bikini pictures and just everything to basically say, I'm desperate, I need a man, swipe right on me. That's literally what these dating apps are like. Us guys, we don't want that. Like no, like maybe the younger. Let me correct that. There are some guys out there that I want that. I just want a good time. But there are a generation like me that are looking for a wife. We're looking for just a wife, not somebody to just go have sex with, but somebody to actually build a loving relationship with.
So my past relationship, we had so I had this dating app, and he saw that I was on there, and then we had been friends like 2 years prior to that. Like he went to Bryan, I think it was like his freshman or sophomore year. I was maybe a sophomore or junior. Like we were like maybe like a year apart from each other. Like grade wise, we were 2 years apart age wise, and like it was like a 16 plus, and he had like just turned 16, I think. Okay. So he was on here, and then he saw that I was on there, and like that's just kind of how like we reconnected because he moved 25 minutes from Ryan, like up north a little bit, and like we just kind of reconnected through there. And I was like, okay, like we just caught up with each other. We started hanging out every weekend, and you don't have to edit that out. I have burps, okay? I'm not perfect.
Amen to that. Well, none of us are perfect.
If I burp, though, you may have to edit that out.
That's great. That's going in the intro.
That's fine. But we were like, it just felt like old times, like best friends, like we could talk about anything and everything with each other. Like we kind of eased back into it because we hadn't talked for maybe a year. So we like kind of eased back into it. And then like I kind of learned who he really was on the dating side of him and not on the best friend side of him. And it was to a point where like he had put up so much of a front and changed like so much that like I just didn't recognize him like at all.
Wow. He just completely was a different person.
Just a completely different person. And he tried to pull it off as like he was how he used to be. And I was like, that's not you. Like that's not like the
you read right through it. You saw right through his persuade.
So I was like, okay, like we're gonna like we can try this. Like maybe like there's a little bit of like the him I knew like there. And then slowly throughout our relationship, like I found out that he was back on that dating app. And he said, like, he just never uninstalled it. And I was like, BS. We both did. We did it at the same time. Nice try.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, you know, like, that's fine. Like, I, like, passed it on. I was like, whatever. And then, I want to say about 5 months into a relationship, I just stopped one day. It was like, just looking at him. Like, we were standing, like, in my driveway. He had, like, picked me up for work or something. And I was just looking at him, and I was like, I don't know you. Like, you are not the dude, like, I knew. You have changed, like, so much. Like, I just don't know you. And, of course, I'm not going to just, like, stand there and be like, I don't know you. Get off my property.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I was like, I'm going to let this slide. We're going to go a little bit further. Like, I'm going to keep pushing my luck. And then, like, I started telling him, like, my issues with him that I had because he would tear me apart all the time. And I'd be like, look, like, this is not something I'm okay with. I was like, and then he would flip what I said and then use it right back against me. And I was like, you're not.
No, that's not healthy.
I don't know you. Like, I literally do not know you anymore. So I tried to push on for another, like, 2 weeks. Like, I was like, I just kept trying to get him to change, like, begging for him to change, being like, can you just go back to how you used to be? And it came down to the point where we were sitting on his front porch, back porch, whatever, of his parents' house. And he told me that his dad doesn't see us, like, making it past 4th of July. It was, like, 3 weeks.
Wow.
Like, 3-4 weeks before 4th of July. And I was like, what the actual... Yeah. So I was just, like, kind of relaxing. And then we were sitting out on his porch. We were talking. And I was like, we need to have a conversation. I was like, this is what you've told me. You know all the facts. I kind of like relisted them out for him, made him like a little flow chart for him.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I'm gonna have to dumb this down, okay? I was like, what do you want to do? And he's like, it's up to you. And I was like, I hate that so much. I hate when somebody, like, brings up a conflict or brings up something, and then, like, later down the road, they're like, oh, it's up to you. Whatever you want. I just want to, like, no, like, you brought this conflict up. You know the facts. I was like, what are we doing? What are we, like, just tell me.
Yeah, especially since he brought it up.
Yeah, like, he was literally the one that brought it up. And he was like, I'll let you decide. So I kind of sat there for, like, 15 minutes. And in that 15 minutes, I had texted. I didn't have my license at the time. So I had texted somebody I was supposed to be going with that night. I was like, head on your way. It was like a 20-minute drive. I sat there for 15 minutes. And I was like, I don't see us going any further. I was like, I'm tired of fighting with you. I'm tired of trying to, like, have you view what I see is right. I was like, but this is not working. He goes, okay. So I went up to his room. I packed up literally anything that I had left there, grabbed whatever was mine. I left a few things because I was hoping that there was going to be a change. And then I left. He didn't text me at all that night. the next night, he had texted me, like, trying to apologize and get me back. And then I had those 2 chicks from the beginning, like, I had them add me again, and then some other chick. The 2 from the beginning were warning me that he was already talking to someone new. And then the other chick was the chick that he was currently talking to. And I was like, "Are you be for real right now?" I was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Okay, well, we're just gonna ignore this all." So I removed them all. I told him I wanted my stuff on my porch where his stuff was. I was like, "We're done." I was like, I'm not coming back. Sorry about your luck, but this is what I found out, and you're not for me." So I made it a plan where he wanted one last hug. And I was like, I shouldn't fall for this, but we're gonna fall for this. I was like, okay, that's fine. I was like,
how much harm could a hug do?
and then he was like 5 minutes from my house. I hadn't removed him off of Life 360 yet. I was like, I'm gonna plan this out. So I had it planned out that when he was like 5-10 minutes from my house, I left and went to Walmart. Like, I did not want that last hug. And I stupidly did not remove myself from the Life 360 circle. He took his stuff, went to Walmart, and used Life 360 to find my, like, location in Walmart. Because, like, you can, like, see, like, exactly where they're at.
Yeah.
And then said that my stuff was in my friend's vehicle. She has a Jeep. Her doors were off. Said that it was in her vehicle with the dog. And he was like, I just want one last hug. And I was like, I can't get out of this. I was like, I gotta pee. Like, can you wait? And I was gonna, like, wait in there for, like, 20 minutes and then, like, text for help. And he goes, it's just a hug. And then so I was like, fine. So, like, I was gonna go and be done. And he just, like, sat there and held me. And I was like, and I was like, all right, I gotta go. I got plans today. And he goes, okay. And then he, like, just stepped away. And he, like, started up a conversation. I was trying to be civil.
Yeah.
I was, like, just talking to him. And then he's like, and then ever since then, so, like, here lately, I've had this thought of removing all or majority of my social media again due to this. But, like, social media is, like, the #1 way of harassment right now.
Yeah.
Through, like, exes or people you just simply don't like.
I easily believe that.
I have blocked 8 accounts in the last 2 weeks of just them making more accounts to see what I am posting and see what I am doing in life.
Isn't it hard to make a Facebook account? Don't you have to, like, go through, like, 2 verification processes with your email and link your phone?
There's that. TikTok and Instagram. It's way simpler. You literally punch in, like, an email, a username, and a password, and they let you have an account.
But people are actually going to the trouble on Facebook. I wonder why that is. Just
because, okay, so on Instagram, if you post something on your story, you can see who views it.
Yeah.
On TikTok, you can now see, like, who views your profile, who views your videos, like, all of that. Like, you can see that. On Instagram, you can see who views your story. If you tap on someone's name, like mine, I can't view someone's, like, profile without viewing their story first.
Okay.
So, like, I can, like, hit the follow button, but then that tells them that I'm, like, stalking their page.
Right. They know exactly when that happens.
So, like, they've changed, like, so much. I don't know if it's just, like, newer iPhones that they did it with, but, like that's how it is for, like, mine. I have that set up with my Facebook too, where, like, if you're on my page, like, it'll pop up my story and be like, do you want to view the story? You know?
Yeah, the stories are at the top, aren't they? On
yeah,
Facebook?
It's at the top. Yeah. So it's more complicated. It's easier through Facebook because you can create, like through Google, you can create a new email in a matter of not even a minute.
And then just make a new Facebook.
And you can just pop up a fake name, pop up fake information, and then if somebody has, like, details public, like, you can go on mine, like, you can see public details if you're not my friend. And, like, that's how I have mine set up, because I had my Instagram set up as a public figure because, like, I'd post, like, motivational things. I was like, you know what, like, let's get this out here, like, let's hype some girls up. And then, like, when I changed my Instagram, changed my Facebook, I was like, okay, like, that's a little personal, but we're just gonna be real out here.
Yeah.
And then found out that like so many people that I had blocked and removed from my life was still looking like at what I was doing through my Facebook. So I went ghost for a while. And that created a lot of conflict. Not only like with like relationships and dating, but like friendships too.
Probably, yeah, because you just didn't have the communication aspect with your friends, right?
Yeah, I was like, you have my number, like you have a way to contact me. I was like, it's not Snapchat where you go every 5 seconds.
But I actually had this conversation with Chad the other day. I mean, it's like we were both talking like if I didn't run a couple businesses through social media, I wouldn't even have social media. It would be off my radar.
Yeah.
It's just, it can be an annoyance, it can be a hindrance.
Yeah.
But that's just the problem though. It's like there's so many reasons to have social media nowadays, and it makes it so you're like kind of have to. You're kind of like tied. It's like a double-edged sword.
it's kind of like, okay, this is gonna be like a really, really weird reference, but like when you're growing up, everyone's like, say no to drugs because like they're bad for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then when I first got social media, like the first year, like there's just so much drama, and I was like, what if it's the same way for like social media? Like say no to social media, like it causes drama, it causes conflict, like. Mm-hmm. So for a while there, like I went AFK. I was like, I got Snapchat. I was like, I'll snap whoever I want, like whenever I want. I'm still that way now. Like I'll leave people on open for like an hour because I don't feel like talking to them, or I just don't have the energy to like answer someone.
That's okay.
Like the messages too, like the group chats that I'm in, I have them all muted because I don't want to sit there and look at those notifications and feel like I have to answer.
That's good.
Like the gym one, I have that one muted.
Hey, that's okay. We talk about nonsense.
You're talking about nonsense. I will pop in now and then. Like now and then and like bash a few people. But
yeah, we see that. And you'll randomly get a message from me, like a video of me eating eggs because I meant to.
I remember that. Like I was just sitting on the couch. I had just got home. Like volume was all the way up from like being in the car. And I just opened like it's just a video, and I hadn't seen like I just didn't see like the that wasn't for you or whatever like you had said. And I'm just like watching a video of you eating an egg. And I was like, Mom? I was like, I think this was meant for you.
Nope, it was meant for somebody else in the group chat. And I had your conversation open because we were talking about the podcast, getting your schedule on here. And I was cooking dinner, and I was switching back and forth from talking to the group, and I was also talking to you about that. And then we had stopped talking, but for some reason I left it on your page. And then I went to shoot that video for Michael about eggs, and I clicked send. I was like, shoot, that just went to Lils.
I was like, you put mustard on your eggs. Like, we put hot sauce on ours.
The hot sauce is good too. They're both good. Back to the back to the app. When you have an app, you talked about what you do. What should guys do? What makes you want to swipe right?
So I would definitely look at like how their photos look. Like when I look at like a photo. So when I was on the dating app, I would like look at every little like inch of their photo, like not like that. Like
post a bunch of shirtless pictures. I can see zooming in on them.
Not like that. Like I would look for the Photoshop. I would look for the filter. I would look for the fake in the photo. And if I saw any sort of like Photoshop, like they Photoshop some abs on them or something, or like chicks, you see it where they kind of like Photoshop like their waist in smaller. Like I look for those tiny details, and if I see anything like that, it's a no.
So don't filter your pics, guys. Which do guys actually filter their pics?
There was a lot on there.
Really?
Yeah, like they would they use like this like the girly Snapchat photos to like make their ab pics or whatever. It'd make it look smoother.
Oh my gosh.
It would make like the flaws in their skin not appear to be there, and then you go to the lake with them like the next weekend, and you're like, when did that get there?
Why do people put on these filters when they have a plan to meet this person in person? Like, aren't they thinking like this is going to cause a red flag when I see this person? I look nothing like I am.
I quit using filters. I was like, look, if like my makeup is like messed up and like halfway down my face, like half the time I'll wake up and like instantly snap someone. Like I'll sleep with my mascara on. I have no shame about it. It'll be like all over my face. I look like a raccoon, and I'm just like casually snapping people, and then eventually like I'll just go shower, and then they're like, hey, that's better. I'm like, why does that matter whether I have like a bunch of random black stuff down my face or not?
Filters should be removed, I think, from these apps. I think
they wouldn't be bad, if people would not overuse them.
Right. Well, I'm not talking about like on Instagram and stuff. Like, go ahead, filter all your pictures the way you
Yeah.
want. I'm talking about dating apps where you are actually
that
making
should
a
not be
contract
okay.
with somebody to maybe meet in person.
Yeah.
There should be a way to, I don't even know how they could even go about that, but to make it so you cannot put doctored photos on these apps so that when you're going through them, because that's one of the main things I don't use them for, because it's too easy to get catfish nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Catfishing is so freaking popular. And it's, I'd say, one of the most reasons people hate dating nowadays, because they fall in love with this online persona of person, talking to them and seeing all these sexy pictures. They meet them in person. They're nothing like that person.
Not at all.
Completely different.
Not at all. Like so when I first started talking to Jake, like we weren't exactly on the whole like face photos type thing. Like I'd get pictures of of his work, like what he was doing at work, or he'd send me random pictures of his food. I don't know what it is.
Get a dick pic.
Not a dick pic. That is an instant block.
Hear that, guys? Dick pics are an instant block.
That is not a turn on. That is not a green flag.
Why do guys do that?
That is I'm gonna look at you and go, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Like, no chick is gonna look at a dude and instantly be like, I wonder what his dick looks like. That is not something we think about. Like the first thing I think about is I'm like, how does he talk to me? Like, if we meet up, is he gonna follow the sidewalk rule? Is he gonna open my door? Like,
sidewalk rule. What is that? I'm sure people don't know about this.
Okay.
I know what it is, but some people might not know.
The sidewalk rule. When you're walking down the sidewalk with the person you're talking to, in a relationship with, etc., the dude walks closest to the road.
Yes.
To protect the women in case something happens.
Exactly.
So
it's a common thing most people should, but you never see it nowadays.
Like I search for it. Like when Jake and I first started talking, we were walking. I think we walked from like Cornerstone to like the coffee shop. It's like maybe like 7 stores down. Mm-hmm. And like I was looking for it, and like at first like we were just walking. Like I was just walking like straight behind him because he like has these long legs and walks really fast, and I have little baby legs. And I was like, slow down, I got little legs. And then he just stopped. And then like I walked up. So the road's here, sidewalk's here. I walked up on this side of him. And I was like walking with him. And he goes, it moves me to the other side. And I was
that
like,
was a green flag.
I was like, hi.
You don't see that very often anymore.
No. And like,
shocking.
And when we walk into places, like he'll open the door before me. Or if I open the door before him, he'll close it and then open it. It kind of makes him mad when I open my own door, but.
So you don't think common courtesy like that is lost? You think that it should still be a thing? Because there's a lot of guys that don't even think about that nowadays.
It's very rare to find, but when you find it, it's like you just get even more attached, because like I don't even get my own drink like around him. Like if I want a water, I'll get up to go get one, and then he goes, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Get a water," and he's like, "Sit down. I'll get it. I need one too." Whether he actually drinks it or not, like just that common courtesy of like, what can I do to like make like her mind, or just make her like rest easier.
Now, you know what people are saying right now? He is simping for you.
I don't care.
Is that a good okay. People get this persona out there of simping, like, oh, you're simping for it. Like my past relationships, they'd be like, oh, you're simping too. I'm like, what is this simping shit? When does this ever come? When does this ever become a thing?
Simping is basically when you do everything and anything for a girl to make her happy. It's basically like, so you have like your I don't need a women dudes is the ones that created it. They're the ones where they're like, I don't need a chick to do this all for me. If you are doing all of this, like just the common courtesy stuff, like simply paying for her on a first date, the sidewalk rule, opening her door for her, like
that's not simping?
Like that is considered simping.
Oh my gosh. What is
so
the term?
Like going to a store, and if your girl's like lips look chapped, you don't say anything. You just buy her chapstick and be like, oh, what about this scent? Like 90% of your females have a chapstick collection. And if there is a new scent, more than likely she doesn't have it yet, or she hasn't spotted it. Like be like, oh, do you have this one yet? Like kind of hint things. Or like if you go to the mall and there's like if you like want like a gift idea, just like look at like men's jewelry first and then spot where she's at with the women's jewelry, and then wait until she's got her eye on something. Walk over, kind of get a general idea on what she was looking at, and then be like, okay, you ready to go? And typically I go, well, I was looking at this. And then he'll be like, okay. And then like, just kind of like act like you don't care, but like care, if that makes sense.
It does.
And then like special occasion, like if Christmas is coming up or she's got a birthday coming up, like get that for her. Like I've dropped so many hints in the mall. Like I'll be like looking at a pair of jeans for like a little too long. Like it just kind of feels creepy that you're standing there looking at the same pair of jeans for like 10 minutes.
Right. It's an obvious hint.
Yeah. I make those obvious hints. Like we go into Walmart and I'm looking at like a tub of ice cream for way too long. Like I'm making the hint that I want it, but I don't want to like either pay for it. I don't want to pay for it, or like I'm telling myself I don't need it.
Girls are tricky.
Not really.
Yes, you are.
I trick myself sometimes, not gonna lie.
Try to play us.
Like you just kind of have to like look for like the things that we look at far too long. And half the time if we're looking at something top of the line, like it just looks really, really like bougie and out there. You can find like a low grade like replica at Walmart.
Yeah.
Like,
Walmart's great.
Like I would not be mad if I got proposed like to with a Walmart ring, because some of them are actually really pretty.
Yeah. Well,
like you just kind of have to like look at your girl and think what would make her happier.
So is simping a bad thing?
I don't think simping is a bad thing. I think it was like put out to be a bad thing because there's so many guys where they have been like mistreated by the wrong girl.
Mm-hmm.
So now like those basic relationship stuff, like they just think it's bad.
Yeah.
Women do get called out for simping too.
Really?
My most recent ex, I was told I simped over him way too hard.
How does a woman simp over a man?
Because you do everything and anything possible for him. So when I would go over, I was wifey type. I was basically a maid for him. I would clean his whole room. He worked in a factory and was like covered in grease like 90% of the time. So if there was grease on anything, I would scrub like the grease off. Like I don't even care if I sat there for an hour scrubbing, like it came off.
Wow.
I did his laundry. I would cook him like dinner. I would do the dishes and put the dishes away.
What caused you to do all this?
Because he stated that he wanted to build a future. So I was doing the things that he would expect out of me if we lived together and we started that future. And then he did not appreciate the things that I did for him. So it just kind of came down to the point where I stopped doing them. I came over and I would go do something else. He'd be like, he'd just like have this mound of laundry and I would act like I didn't see it.
Did he bring it up then? Say like, why is my laundry not done?
Well, okay.
Was he really that much of a?
It was like.
He sounds like an ass.
he kind of was an ass. Excuse my French, mom, but but like he'd be like I'd like leave. He'd like drive me home, and he'd be like, "Hey, the next time you come over, like you think you can tackle some of that laundry for me?" Or I would like not cook him dinner, and then I would go home, and then he'd snap me later that night going, "I'm so hungry, nobody made food." And I'm like, I don't mind cooking and cleaning and like making like the place look livable and not like a homeless man, like a greasy homeless man lives there. Like I don't mind that at all, but it's when you like don't act like you appreciate what I have done for you.
And how long again were you in that relationship?
7 months. I did that for 7 months.
Was he that good in bed or something?
Not at all. not at all.
That's insane. That's a long time to be with somebody like that.
We got a puppy together. So we were building to get a puppy together, which ended up being a birthday gift to his dad because there was no way that his dad would let us have a puppy.
I see.
It was going to be like our first kid or whatever.
Yeah.
So we were planning on getting a puppy together, and I would ignore all of the negative, and I'd be like, you know what, like here are the goods in our relationship, like we're going to focus on them. So that's what I focused on. And then it just came down to the point where I was like so exhausted that I could not. I just could not anymore. And then he found out that he was talking to someone else. And I was like, okay. And I was like, you're like, are you friends? Like, is there something else going on there? And he goes, no, it's like, it's just somebody that I met through like one of my buddies. It's like his sister, in case like, you know, buddy's not answering, he can text his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out that she was not related to any of his buddies.
Oh gosh. That's
And
bad.
I was like, do I say something? I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. I was like, we're just gonna pray and hope for the most and like the best. And then it just got to the point where we had that conversation, and then I dipped.
Yeah. Honesty,
and
man.
I have not turned back.
All comes down to honesty. For their bio, though, back to the app again. For
Yeah,
their bio.
sorry.
It's okay. What should a guy put in their bio?
If they work out, definitely say something about how many days a week you go to the gym. That kind of says a lot. Like if you're like, oh, only go like 1 or 2 days a week, like I'm gonna look at you and go, why not more? And if you're like, I go like 5 days a week, like after work, like I know for a while, like my dad was going like 3 days, like three times a day. Like I know he was like battling some stuff, but like still, like if I were to see that in like a different guy,
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, you have that much ambition for something like that. I was like, that is like, to have that ambition for one thing is so attractive.
That's good. That's real good.
Like you see these like mechanics, and you see these welders, and you see these blue collar boys. Like they go to work like they do the same work every single day, and they can stick with the same work every single day, have patience with it. Like, yeah, like there's probably some cuss words thrown and some like bullying going on, but like it's not like you're like beating the crap out of each other or anything like that. Like it like just shows that you have like that patience. So if you say like on your bio, like I do this many times like a week, and it's like literally almost every single day of the week, I'm gonna look at you and go, you have the patience. Like I'm a pretty difficult person to like not only like get along with, but to be with, because like I see things a certain way and I want things a certain way, and I will fight to where they are a certain way because it creates peace in the relationship. So definitely say something about like what you do on the daily.
Okay.
Like say if you have a dog.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Dogs are a green flag.
Dogs are a green flag. Remember that. Siri?
I didn't see her at all when I came in.
She's outside.
Oh, okay. I was like, I came in. I was like waiting for like the golden one right in my lap
I just let her
already.
out when you came in.
Okay. I was like, okay. And then definitely say something about your hobbies. I know like a lot of guys that I like hang around with or have been around with, they do like derbies and like drag racing. Mm-hmm. They do like just like mud bogging and like stuff like that. Like they build like these trucks. And like to me, it also comes back to like the patience thing. Like if you have the patience to like build this truck up, figure out what's wrong with it if you break, and then also have the patience to wait through like an hour line just to have your turn. Like it just kind of like shows that you have like the patience.
I think the key word to this podcast today is patience.
Patience.
I think patience can be a very big thing in dating. Like if you have the patience with somebody to work through problems, I think that can fix a lot of problems.
Yeah. Because like if you're gonna like look at an issue, like say like you're with someone and your girl's got an issue and you guys talk about it, and then like a month later you guys have the same issue. It's like the same with the vehicle. Like I know like your battery can go dead. Like sometimes like us women, when we have issues, I'm gonna out myself right here right now, so Jake, if you're watching, keywords, okay, sometimes all I need is for you to stop me and give me a hug. That's all I need, is a simple hug. And so many guys overthink that. They're like, well, I gotta figure out what's wrong with her, I have to get to the bottom of it. Like half the time, if you just stop me and give me a hug, and you ask me, like, give me a few minutes to like recharge the love tank a little bit, and you ask me like, hey, what's wrong? I'm going to tell you what's wrong, flat out and simple. If you see that like I'm doing things and I'm kind of slamming things and I'm not in a good mood, and you go, what's wrong now? It's not gonna help. No, I'm gonna look at you and go, and walk away.
Right. That's kind of hug, guys. Just a simple hug.
Like, don't come on aggressively. Like, come
Give
on.
me a hug.
I'm probably gonna look at you like, don't touch me. Like, just calmly come about it. Be like, hey, like, can you put that down for a second? Like, give me a hug. Take a break for a minute. I might be a little stubborn with it at first, especially if it's like a new relationship, because like I had trained myself prior to the relationship to be like, I'm independent. I'm doing this on my own. Like, I just posted a thing recently about like the whole, like the couch, like one side on like a
I saw that. That was fantastic.
I was like, I gotta try that. Somebody move. But if you see that like I am struggling with something, like either physically or mentally, just simply stop and just stop me. Because like half the time I will not stop. I will continue to bottle it up and push on. Like I will literally push on through something, crying my eyes out.
That goes for a lot of women, and that's I mean sounds like a very popular thing.
It's like the stubbornness of like women now, because we have had these guys that I've experienced with this, but we have had these guys where they're like, they put themselves out here to be like this awesome person, and then you get to know them and half of the stuff that they promised is not getting fulfilled at all. So definitely also like on your dating apps, like don't put anything fake. Like be real about yourself, because that's what we're gonna look for. We're gonna look for like the flaws in everything, and be like, nobody can be like absolutely 100% straight to the book perfect. Like there's got to be something there.
Do you guys read between the lines? Is that a good way to put it? Okay.
We read between like every line, every detail. If you're telling us a story, we will look like for a flaw. So if you're saying like, say you went out, you're with someone, and we like based on like your dating profile, like you're only talking to this person, you haven't gone on a date yet. Based on like their dating profile, it looks like they go to parties a lot. So when say like they're going out to a party, okay, and then they come home, you call them or whatever, make sure they got home safe, like make sure everything's like good and they're okay, and then ask them how their night was, and like they start telling you how their night was. Like us women are like, we have our minds trained to where we look for the flaws. We look where things don't line up. So it's kind of like a puzzle. Like if you're saying something and you're like, oh, we went here at this time and then we're here at this time. Like I'm going to Google from place to that like the times line up.
Wow,
like,
that's insane.
Like it's a little psycho.
That's a little psycho.
But I have been hurt so many times. Like I have been told like, oh, like we got to this place at like this time, and then like even like with Life 360, like Life 360 is big in like new relationships and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then if you say you got to this place at this time, I'm going to make sure your facts line up. I have been lied to so many times. Like they'll be like, yeah, I got to this place at this time. We left at this time. I got to this place at this time.
Do you think that's a common thing though? Do most women actually do that?
It is a common thing, because we have women, we have dated the wrong guys that have like put themselves out there, like basically like brand new out of the box, like nothing's wrong with them, and then they get deep down and there's like actually a lot deeply wrong with them that they don't talk about.
Yeah.
So it just kind of comes down to the point where a lot of women like do that to like make sure they're not gonna get hurt again.
That's insane.
So it's like not to like hurt the guy that is like actually treating them right, but it's to like make sure that they're not gonna get hurt again.
Yeah.
Like I know so many women, like so many girls like my age, they'll play dudes. And like I live by this thing where like if like a dude is like my dude, that is going to be my guy, that is my man, I was like I don't talk to any other dudes. If I do, like they're not a threat to my relationship, and I make sure of that. And I put that boundary there. Like there are boundaries you have to set. Like Jake, he can talk to whoever he wants. I was like, but you know where the boundaries are. So I think the biggest problem is in new relationships and relationships now is there no boundaries.
People are hearing that. What is the breaking point there? There is, let's say, full on having sex, cheating with somebody, and there is just talking to somebody. Where's the middle ground there where it's a problem?
So if you were just simply talking to someone like here and there, like you've been friends for like 4+ years, I don't have an issue with you having like a female friend, as long as you haven't slept with them, there have been no feelings there. There are no current feelings there. There's no relationship there, like dating wise. There's no like ex dating like relationship there. Like you guys have been strictly friends. And then, so like you guys like maybe talk like once every month. Like that's fine with me. I'm like, you know what? That's fine. Like you talk every single day. Like that's going to throw a red flag. That's going to be like, there's something going on.
Yeah, right. It's obvious.
That's like obvious at that point. Definitely with like flirtatious things, like when a guy will compliment another female, but not compliment their own chick. That is.
Okay, that brings up an interesting point. Can guys compliment another girl while dating another girl? Is that breaking the line?
I want to say yes, but also no, because it kind of comes down to like what you mean by the compliment. Like if it's like a general photo and like on
the gym or something, like
at the gym, like be like, oh, like your gains are looking good, or like, hey, like it looks like your workout's working. Like, okay, probably not that one. That one might. I
was gonna say people could twist that.
I could twist that. Especially if it's like butt pics.
Oh yeah, that's.
But like, your
ass is looking great.
Don't say that. You might get a coffee cup thrown at your head. Like, what were you thinking? Oh my goodness. But like when somebody posts pictures and you have like those general like quick comments or whatever, you can tap on them, like on Facebook they have like so gorgeous or like looking good or like beautiful or whatever, like those like they don't really bother me because like I know you didn't sit there and like type it out yourself. But if you're gonna sit there and like give like a female like an actual like solid compliment that you don't even give like your girl,
that's a problem. I could see that.
Or like if you give the same compliment to another girl that you give to your girl, that's a conflict. Like your girl should be like top tier compliments, and then like if you're complimenting another chick, like most relationships, most chicks, they don't like that because you're complimenting another female. Yeah. Like that there's like a line there.
A little bit of a red flag.
Quite a bit of a red flag. But like if you're gonna sit there and like FaceTime another chick and be on FaceTime with a chick, like sleep on the phone with them. Like I know like that's a big thing now. It's like you sleep on the phone with like your partner.
It's real popular. I've heard of that.
It's like a comfort thing. I did that for a little bit because it was like, especially when we first moved into our house, like I like growing up, I always shared a room, and now I have like this giant room and like just a crap ton of space. I was like, everything feels like it echoes. Like I feel so tiny here. I was like, I just need like some sort of comfort. Like music wasn't cutting it, a fan wasn't cutting it. I was like, I just need something. So it got to the point where I now sleep with the light on because it came as a habit to be able to see like where my phone is while I'm sleeping.
That is horrible for your circadian rhythm. I could go on for a long time like that.
I know.
It's very bad.
I'm sorry. I don't sleep with that anymore. Like I sleep in the pitch dark and my phone goes like this on the charger on a nightstand.
That's good. That's perfect.
like I used to do that and it messed with my sleep schedule so much.
Oh yeah. It's bad.
Like I'd hear like my phone vibrate like I'd like have it laying on my bed.
Oh, that's bad. That's real bad.
I'd feel it vibrate, or like I'd see the screen light up if like my face was near it. I'd like wake up, check the notification, whatever, lay it back down. And it was like a ritual. Like it was like every night, like just like answering people like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was bad.
That's a bad habit.
It was a bad habit, but it was because like I was so scared that if I didn't answer in like the right amount of time, like it would create another conflict. And like that is something that I carry into like my current relationship, where like if I feel as though it's not like a huge conflict, I will not bring it up. I'll be like, you know what, like that's probably like not what he meant by it. Like I'm just good. Like I'm just like not gonna bring this up. Like
it sounds like you're getting better at not overthinking things.
It is, but there are things where like we just recently had this conversation because I had bottled something up that I shouldn't have, that I pushed like down. I was like, you know what, like it's fine, like I'm just gonna ignore it, and I should not have done that. I should have addressed it. Yep. And so like that was a conflict. So like you just have to like look, I want to say like the signs that your girl will not talk to you about certain things, but definitely look for those signs, especially if like one dude has like done her wrong, because then she's going to like continue to hide what she thinks is wrong. Mm-hmm. So when I was with my ex, like bringing up problems was wrong. He expected me to bottle it up and push it away.
That's really weird.
Yeah,
that's completely the opposite of what I've ever.
So when I started bringing up conflicts, because I got tired of being like basically used for like a mate.
Sounds like it.
I was like that's not okay with me. Like something needs to change. And he just said that it was like my job to like do wifey stuff, and that was wifey stuff, and that I needed to like continue doing what I was doing, and I shouldn't complain about what I was doing, because like he's lucky I let him like do certain things for me. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
That's weird. Okay, so one question I have for you for the dating apps here. I wrote this down, icebreaker questions. What would be a good icebreaker? Because a lot of people, let's say they get swiped right on, they get a message back, oh, this chick swipe right on me. What's a good message to send? Obviously not a dick pic.
Obviously not a dick pic. You're gonna get instant block or no answer. At least most women that I know would do that, unless you get like that one like random straggler who's like, ooh, piece of candy.
Gosh.
Ooh, shiny. you get like that one like random chick that is like actually into that.
What should icebreaker be though?
Definitely, okay, I hate like a new talking stage. Like I hate like the basic questions. Like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite
It's
animal?
snowing outside today.
It's snowing. How about over where you're at? Or how's the weather? Like that is gonna make me like look at you.
Small talk sucks. I hate small talk.
It is like the most annoying thing ever. Mm-hmm. Like, so like the best icebreaker, I always use like super deep questions as like an icebreaker, because that makes somebody like feel like they can open up. It makes them feel like oh, like that's gonna be your first question. Like that's how things are gonna be. Like you're very like straightforward and serious person. I like about like conflicts and stuff like that. About like getting to know someone. So like icebreakers should be like, you can probably ask them how their day was. You might not get like a straight solid answer, because like if you're in different time zones, somebody's day could be just starting while you're like finishing.
Yeah.
So
that still sounds like small talk. How was your day? Oh, my day was good. It's an open-ended question.
It is.
It's always a yes or no. I feel like people need to ask a question with a answer that they could answer besides a yes or no.
Yeah.
So how would you go about that?
I don't know. I've always been asked like what my favorite hobby is and what I like to do for fun. And if I say like, oh, like I go to the gym, or oh, we went, like I like to go on walks and stuff like that. Like they'll ask me like favorite places, and then like he'll like the dude that like I'd be talking to, he'd be like, well, would you want to go on a walk to this place? Like my favorite place to walk is Goals Woods, outside of like Archibald Striker area. Like there's like probably like one of my favorite walking places because it is so peaceful. So if I were to like go on a first date with a dude and he's like, do you want to go get like pizza or something and then go for a walk in Goals? I'm going to be like, we're going.
Yeah, it's
so are you busy this weekend?
All signs align there.
Yeah, like if he like just ask simply like what their favorite places are to go, or where they would like to like vacation. Like if you ask somebody where's one ideal place like you'd like to go vacation, and they say like Florida, that's like that's so basic. That's like a red flag.
Yeah.
If like somebody tells me like, oh, like Maine, or like the UP, or like, don't say California. California's trash. or like Texas, or something like you're out of the normal. Like that is such a green flag, because you're like, oh, like you're not like the basic, like just a basic day-to-day like American. Like you actually like to travel. I am such a traveling person. I like seeing new places. Like I had been to the UP like I think like 2 times, and then we went to Drummond Island, and Drummond Island was like a whole different experience.
Should you correlate your first conversation with them with what they have on their bio? So if they say that's a yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So like kind of like if they have something that is like, I don't want to say off to you, but like something you have a question about their bio, be like, hey, so I saw this like on your page. Like, don't like read like the first 3 sentences on their bio. Like, make sure you read it all. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Like, especially if it's something like more towards the bottom. Like, I know one of the chicks that I used to be friends with, she would put like her most serious stuff in the bottom of her bio. So that way she knew, or like the stuff that she knew if like a guy would have a question about.
He had to stick around.
He had to read through all of her like pros to get to her cons.
That's good. That's really
so
good.
she would literally throw it all out there. I'm like, you got a lot of balls, girl.
Yeah.
I was like, if somebody asked me about like a conflict, I'll tell them. But I'm not just gonna flat out be like, yeah, well, this, and this happened in my life, so there's that. Like, I'm not just gonna be flat out like, that's just not me. Like,
okay. How long does it take for you to typically? Well, you don't really use it anymore, but like back when you used to use the apps, how long did it take before you swiped, or let's see, swiped up just to the next page, swiped away, basically?
So
how long are you spending on each one of these guys before you swipe?
So when I first started using it, I was just kind of like BSing my way through. Like I just like look at their pictures and just keep swiping, just because like I had no interest in any of them. And then like if there was someone where like their age or they looked like my ideal, like how I like my men, and if like everything just lined up, you know, I would tap on them.
Mm-hmm.
I would like just kind of like look into their stuff, look at like every like little detail, like in their photos, in their bio, like everything.
So the first look is really what gets you to stick around.
Yes. So like while I'm looking through their photos, like I'm gonna look for stuff that I recognize. Be like, is this somebody in my area? Is there some sort of like monument or something I can recognize? Like
the gym.
Like the gym. Like some of my pictures, you can see like the gym sign like in the background. Like I do that on purpose. So if somebody wants to know like where I work out, like they can just look at my photos.
There's some creepy people out there. I don't know if you should do that.
I think I have like maybe one video where you can see it.
Yeah.
But like you have to like scroll down and like scroll through photos. But other than that, like I make it like so like kind of like when we go to Walmart, you can tell it's Walmart. Yeah. Like you can like pictures from Walmart, you can tell like we're in Walmart. But like from the gym, like I've had so many people ask me if I worked out at like Planet Fitness or something. I was like, no, isn't that purple?
Yeah,
that's purple. This is like orange and green. Nice try.
Nobody works out at Planet Fitness.
No.
I think my little sister works out at Planet Fitness. Sorry, Taylor.
Sorry, Tay. But like definitely like first look. Like if you're gonna put your best photo first, I'm not gonna look at you too long. If you put like your like raw real photos out there first, I will look at you longer, because I'm gonna be like, so it's kind of like a catfish. Like guys will like put these filters over their photos. They'll like, I've seen a few where it was obvious that they like photoshopped their jaw to look like sharper. It's pretty obvious.
That is weird. Who does that? Wow.
Yeah. So like those very like small details. Like I look for like those real photos where like you can either tell it was like their senior photos or something, or just like a photo like their buddy took of them, like a goofy one. Like I look for those because then I know that like they can have a good time.
Yep.
But then I also like seek that calm down time.
Let's say a guy gets dressed up all fancy for a picture, like wants to make it like look for like, do you look for that? Is that like a turn on?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So like I don't want to say like yes, because I don't look for those dressed up photos. Like most of the guys that I have been with, the most that they get dressed up is like jeans, boots, and a button down.
Yeah, that's what it is around here.
And like that is perfectly fine with me. But if we're going to like a formal event or something, like I am going to expect you to wear like something a little bit nicer. Maybe like the button down, like dress pants, maybe dress shoes, or at least clean your boots. Yeah. Like don't be a He-Man.
Gotcha. That's good. That's good. And one last thing I wrote down here. Do you think dating nowadays is just about sex? A real deep question here.
I don't want to say yes, because I know there's a lot of relationships where if you set those boundaries straight away, like it's not what it turns into. But it is something that has become like the new normal. It is. Where like that is something you do on the first date. It
is. It's you're right. You're very right. It's a first date thing. Back in my day, you wouldn't even think about sleeping with somebody until like at least maybe a month in even. I mean, it was...
There's a quote that I keep seeing around on TikTok, like it's this like trend or whatever going on, where you test drive before you commit.
Oh my gosh.
So like a dealership, these women in like this society is using like dating, like when you go to a dealership and you see a brand new car, like you test drive it
Oh
before.
my gosh.
It's like comparing like virgins to like like an actual like brand new dealership, and then somebody who has like slept around a little bit to like a used car lot.
So so what the heck?
Yeah.
So would that be a good thing? People see that the car is used, so it's a good thing? That seems so ass backwards.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, like at this point, because like you can look at someone and be like, what's your body count? Which means how many people have you slept with? Mm-hmm. And if you look at that and be like, that number is way too high for me, like say like you just started talking to like someone your age and they're like, oh, well, my body counts like 120. You're gonna look at her and go, you're psycho. Or you've slept around, or what diseases do you have?
Yeah, that's a lot.
But like if you meet someone else who has like like a decent like faithful woman where they're like, oh, like she's like your age, and she's like, oh, like maybe 3, I've been married twice. That's gonna make you think that green flag.
Yeah, that's a green flag for me.
Like
for
green
sure.
flag.
Yep.
Like you like maybe she's like dated like a bunch but never slept with. Like you don't like my mom. She used to say this about an ex-friend of mine. She was like, don't open your legs until you know every single detail about them.
That's good.
So that gives you, so like when you first get in a relationship, like you don't want to be like straight up forward with them about literally every single thing in your life. Like that is something like you work like forward to, into like knowing like everything about them. So that gives you like 7 months of a relationship before you even like think about opening your legs to them.
And that's the old-fashioned way of thinking. That was great. That was fantastic. But nowadays it's like you're expected to put out on the first date,
Not me.
Sorry about your luck. There's a lot.
Sorry about
like
your
I said,
luck.
you're the needle in the haystack, because it's a completely different world nowadays. And I don't know what flipped there, because it's just a confusing way to think, because sex was looked at back when I was younger as you were
for married couples.
Well, not even that. Just people that are seriously with each other. People, it was a thing that people were together for a while. It was something that was earned after a while. It wasn't just something, oh, I'm going to have sex with this person this night. It wasn't like that.
It's not like a one night stand where like you literally meet up with them, maybe grab a drink, maybe have dinner, sleep with them, and then you leave. Like not even like an hour afterwards.
Right. And I'm not even really talking about one night stands. Like literally people, I think this is what brings back those situationships and relationships and talking. And like, I am not familiar with any of these terms. There is a situationship. There is a relationship. There is talking. There is dating.
Do you want me to like briefly explain?
Yes, please.
Okay,
please.
So a situationship is basically dating without the label. You do stuff that like a couple does, but you're more than talking. And you're less than a relationship. So it's that in between. Is
it friends with benefits?
It's basically friends with benefits, but sometimes there's like really no benefits. So it's like friends with benefits now
is sex.
Is sex. But it's like having that relationship, doing everything that like a dating couple would do, but without the sex. Oh. So
that's interesting. Why is that a turn on? I wonder, for those people that do that.
It shows that like they can be loyal to them without being tied down. Oh. But that also backfires because
I could see that backfiring.
Yeah, you get into like some situationships and then the person's like, well, I don't want you anymore. I'm a dip.
Yeah. So, okay, then move to, so is a situationship first, or is talking first?
Talking is first.
Okay,
talking is when like you first meet them, like you're kind of having those really, really gross, like short answered questions and etc. Like it's basically like the first meeting.
There's
questions.
Nothing sexual in the talking phase.
There's nothing sexual. There's nothing there.
Okay.
So it's like literally just conversations.
Friendships, even.
It can even come out of friendships too. Like if a chick and a dude is like friends and they continue to talk, and it's kind of like when you're talking, but there's feelings there.
Oh, okay.
And then a situationship is that talking and feelings there, plus more in like...
Plus more. Go into detail. What's the more there?
Like you go out together, you meet up, you hang out, etc. There's no sex involved, but it's like basically... like 99% of what a couple would do, but without the label.
Ah, okay.
So like
Okay.
like you could be like talking to a chick. It could be a situationship. There's no sex. There, you guys just go out and do stuff together. You have a good time. You might say I love you if you're lucky.
Wow, that really.
Yeah, but there's just no label.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the next step after that situationship?
So either if it's not like completely serious, you'll kind of bounce back and forth between a situationship and friends with benefits. So
Okay. Now, I've heard when you're in a situationship from a source that you can see other people when you're in a situation. So you're not tied down in that phase.
you're not tied down at all. So
And
and
both
then
parties know that, right? So that's not cheating either way.
so that's the point of a situationship. It's basically where you can like, excuse my French mom, but you can go hoe around, but then you can come back to your solid person and there be nothing wrong with it. Where in a relationship, you can't go hoe around, you can't go sleep with the girls, you don't really talk to other girls, like you're with your solid woman.
Interesting.
So that is the difference, is you can go hoe around and not be tied down, or you can be tied down and be like faithful to your partner.
I really wonder, like, when did this all evolve? Like, it's fascinating to think about
When
because
somebody said cheating was okay. Somebody in society made it seem like cheating is okay and you don't have to be in a relationship to continue like being like doing like relationship
and
things.
that's why they created these other labels to get away with that.
Yep. So
That's insane.
It's basically just a way to get away with things that are not okay in the world.
That's wild. That's really wild. I mean, when I was young, it was you met a person, you were in that little talking phase, but then it was basically if you kept it was basically a time thing. You know, if you stayed in that talking phase long enough, you naturally asked that person to date you, to be boyfriend, girlfriend. You guys were dating. That's it. There was none of this, all this middle ground stuff. I mean, there was also friends with benefits, obviously. That's always been around, but it was just so much more simplistic. And the reason that it all came about so complicating is because of cheating was brought in there.
CD. But yeah, so like it's like a lot of like the new things that come about, if you like research and like do your research and like talk to someone who has basically been in that situation. Like I've been in so many situationships, it's not fun because like one night you're talking to them, everything's going super great, and then the next night they're out at like a party, like hanging out with other girls, and there's nothing you can do about it but leave. But if that person is like deeply a good person, you're gonna be like, well, it's like one party, like I'm gonna stay.
I was in a situationship and I didn't even know it.
Really?
Yes, back in 2016, I guess I was in a situationship because it was everything except the sex. And then she had slept with this guy this one night when we were out on a date. This other guy, because it was this big thing we went to. It was like a trivia festival thing at a hotel, I think it was. So there was this big trivia contest and whatnot, and we went out to get drinks afterwards. And so this other guy was here too, and he was part of another team there on that trivia, and she ended up sleeping with him that night, even though she was there on the date with me.
That is messed up.
So is that cheating or like?
It's not considered cheating
I know
because,
it's not considered
because
cheating,
like
but
you guys like weren't like officially together. You were on a date and that's really freaked up. But like it's not cheating.
Wow. That's insane. I was in a situationship and I didn't even know it.
So there's like a lot of like new labels or new things going around basically saying like what has not been okay is now okay and giving it a label.
That's insane. That's crazy.
Yep.
All right. It is time, Lily, for Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Oh no, don't play this on me.
First of all, do you think you're smarter than a fifth grader? I mean, you're only 18.
Probably.
So you got that knowledge like in your head still. Because the people that have been on my podcast, the oldest people on my podcast have done the worst.
Oh my goodness.
So you might do really well. And question one, what is the smallest prime number?
Is it 1?
No.
Is it 2?
Yes.
Okay. I know that there's like prime and that there's like the other one.
Yep.
We don't really cover that much in high school anymore.
But this is fifth grade.
It's fifth grade.
This is Are You Smarter Than a
Fifth? You know how long ago that was?
I mean, longer for me than you. I'm 30, gonna be 32 and you're 18.
So bad. That is so bad.
What is the process of a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly called? Metamorphosis. Oh, great. Lils, come on.
I even aced biology last year. That is so bad.
How many sides does a triangle have?
How many what?
How many sides does a triangle have?
3?
Yes, you got one. Who wrote the famous play Hamlet?
Hamlet? Mm-hmm. I have no idea. I'm not into plays or anything.
William Shakespeare.
Oh my god.
Which continent is known as the land down under?
Australia.
Yes. Good deal.
I was gonna say
Good
Antarctica,
job.
and I was like, that's not right.
That's not right. What is the largest species of shark?
The Meg.
That's not even a thing. That's a movie.
Great white.
Whale shark.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
What is the primary gas that makes up Earth's atmosphere?
Carbon dioxide.
Nitrogen. What do you call the study of stars, planets, and space?
It's cold.
Lils, you're doing terrible. I had so much more faith in you.
I didn't know you were gonna ask me school questions. I
That's
don't go back until tomorrow. Let's start with an A.
Yes.
That's what I thought. I don't want to say something weird, but I know, is it like astronomy or
Yes.
something like that? Oh,
You got it.
okay.
See?
I was like, it starts with an A. I know it starts with an A.
How many days are there in a leap year?
In a leap year? 166?
Yes. Good job. A lot of people don't know that one. Which U.S. document begins with the words "We the People"?
Declaration of Independence? No. Bill of Rights.
The preamble to the United States Constitution. Close. So you missed a lot. you missed. I mean, I don't think you passed. I really don't think you did. You missed.
I go back to school
the prime
tomorrow.
number.
Yeah.
You missed the caterpillar.
Mm-hmm.
You got this triangle one right.
Mm-hmm. I got the triangle right.
You missed Hamlet. You missed species of shark.
Okay.
You missed the Earth's atmosphere. You missed the. Okay, so you missed 6. So you got a 40%. That's failing.
Ooh.
So you didn't pass. Sorry. Sorry about your luck.
I go back to school tomorrow. I'll do better. I promise.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up here with audience Q&A here that we posted. I posted on the little Q&A on my Instagram about dating questions. Some of these are kind of spicy, so yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. How do you think modern dating apps have changed the dynamic of casual hookups and one night stands?
So I think it instantly puts you out there. It lets them know what you look like even your physique, what you look like. Talking online, you can even hype yourself up. Mm-hmm. So it's not I'm not trying to call you old, but back in your time.
Back in my time.
I'm not trying to call you old, but you talk to a person for so long, before you sleep with them, you know them as a friend, you know what they look like, but you don't know what they look like underneath their clothes quite yet.
Yeah.
So
sex was a big thing back then.
So technology, there's such thing as nudes and OnlyFans and whatever else. It's basically an outlet to seeing what you're going to be receiving. And I feel that that is that's what guys look for is those pictures before they sleep with someone, because they're gonna I've heard this a lot from a lot of the high school guys that I go to school with, where they're I want to see her in a bikini or something before I hit, so that way I know if I'm messing with an ugly chick or not.
We never thought about that kind of. We never thought about that back then.
Thinking about what other people will think about who you're sleeping with is so big.
What? Back in my day, if you just had sex, you were the guys were yes, hooray, dude, you're not a virgin anymore. That's literally what it was about.
No, it is so complicated. It's like picking a lock with a bobby pin. It's say you're in a relationship with someone for a year and you guys decide you're going to have sex. Uh-huh. Say you've gained as a chick, you've gained a little bit of weight, you've got some stomach fat. Your guy is gonna look at you and make some stupid excuse on why he doesn't want to, text his buddy, and then maybe a week later dump you.
What kind of coward does that? There are guys that do that. Mm-hmm. There are guys that would literally dump sex because their woman isn't attractive looking enough in the time that they are going to have sex.
Because they're too worried about what their buddies think of like their relationship and their girl.
What?
Than like what they think of their girl.
Never have I ever been with a woman and said, I don't think my friend is going to like this girl. Like as I'm having sex with her. Like that has never been a thing.
There is like
crossed my mind.
There's like so much validation there that like goes into all of this. I think it's stupid. Like if I like a guy, that is for my eyes and my eyes only.
Who gives a shit what your friends think?
Thank you.
When did this ever become a self-validation? Is so
my
messed
generation.
Up. Yes, self-validation, Instagram, all that kind of stuff has messed things up so much. I didn't know it was that screwed up. That's insane. That is crazy. That people would be like, "Why did you sleep with her?" Like that. She's like nasty
like,
all and stuff.
Like she's kind of ugly. She's kind of thicker. Like for the longest time, toothpick of chicks was the thing because you didn't have to worry about like stomach fat or too big of hips or too big of a butt or their thighs were too big or anything like that.
Guys
like,
never, back in my day, never even thought about that. Like we were just happy to get a girl naked with us. That's seriously. That's what it was like back then. It was never like this stuff.
It was just so complicated and it's exhausting, and it's why so many women, including me, struggle with self-image, because when I get with someone, like that's my first thought. I was like, in the future, like, is he gonna wanna like sleep with me? Is he gonna wanna create those children? Is he gonna marry me? He's like, do I look okay? Am I skinny enough? Am I fit enough? Are like, so something that I struggle with is my waist small enough? Are my hips big enough? Do my boobs look okay? Is my stomach flat enough? Are my thighs too big? Do my feet look weird? Are my hands too small? I have baby hands. Like, does my face look okay? Like, do I have a jawline? Do I have a double chin? Like there's just so much that like so many like females, including myself now, like worry about because guys are so picky.
But a lot of us are not though. Like
that is why I go for the older men, because they're like, oh, like you want to be with me? Like you're not gonna sit here and play me?
They're thinking like my generation.
Yeah,
it's
like it's just so simple, because I can be like, oh, like I gained like 5 pounds and I can feel it, and Jake's going, where?
Yeah, that's what.
Like you don't see it, and he goes, no. I was like, well, I do.
That's
like it is just something that like when you date younger, it is something that is like drilled into your head. Like you constantly wonder if you look okay, if you smell okay, and like just if you overall like look good.
Wow.
Like smell, look, like
the whole package.
Like the whole package. Like you literally look like a meal. That is what we're so worried about.
That's insane.
Like if you realize at the gym, like I reapply perfume like 3 times because I'm so worried to smell bad. Like it is like my biggest like fear is to smell bad, because I do not like the smell of body odors. Therefore I will, it's drilled in my head to make sure that I smell good, so I'm not the one where someone's like, something smells bad, and I'm like,
that's
me.
In the back of your head where you don't want it. Wow.
Like not me. It is not me, I can promise you.
In the age of digital communication, how can you maintain a sense of mystery and excitement in building a romantic relationship?
Don't give it all away right away.
Yeah.
Like if somebody asks you a question about something,
in front of the mic.
My bad. I'm like so like used to like leaning while I talk, but like just don't give it all away. Like if somebody asks you a question about something, kind of give them like brief discussion enough to create a conversation, but then be like just be flat out and be like, I don't think we're fully ready for like the full conversation about this. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Okay, just be open, I guess.
Yeah, so just be open. Don't give it all away at once, because I know like most people, they'll be like, well, all of this has happened, and this is how I feel, and this is what I do. Like they literally put it all out on the table.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then like you're looking at it, and you go maybe a month talking or relationship, and then it just comes down to the point where you're like, I know everything about this person. And
you get bored.
You get bored. You get bored so easy.
Wow.
Huh. Especially when you put all of your traits and everything out there, like me.
See,
like,
that's where the flip switch is different from guys and girls. guys see that as that's an accomplishment, and we're not bored. We're like all in that at that point because we know about you. It's all out there. We know your secrets, your deep darknesses. We're good. We can fight this together. But you think of boredom. That's fascinating.
That is like the first thing that women think of is the boredom. Like, is he gonna get bored of me? Am I entertaining him? Like, am I doing enough? Like,
Wow.
Like, say I do like the same thing like every day for a week. Like, my first thought is going to be, is he tired of me? Or if we get into an argument over something super, super small, like, I'm extremely guilty of this, but my first thought is he's going to leave me.
Overthinking.
You're
always overthinking.
It just comes back to the overthinking.
Yeah. How has the accessibility to explicit content online, like porn, affected people's expectations and preferences when it comes to physical intimacy in relationships?
So I'm going to target guys on this one.
Really?
So I know a lot of dudes where they watch porn. I personally am not okay with porn, like, in a relationship, or even to look at like nuded photos of other women. Like, at all. Like to me, I see it as wrong. It's something I'm coming okay with because like I can't control like my guy. Like, if he wants to look at somebody with bigger boobs, by all means, go ahead. That's something I can't fulfill. So if that's something you seek, go fulfill it. And that's wrong, and I know that. But it's something that I have learned I cannot change about a guy. Because they have this mindset where guys nowadays have the mindset of they like have this ideal picture of a woman on how a woman should sound during sex, how a woman should feel during sex, how they should look during sex. So I feel like when you get told that like somebody was like a sex addict or like a porn addict or they like watch porn, like my first thought is that is what they're going to expect is what they see on camera. So, like, my first thought is, okay, well, like, we're going to pump those brakes back way, way more than what I, like, originally had intended. Like, when I, like, know that somebody that I'm talking to, like, is seeking those types of things, I'll just talk to them. Like, I'll snap them. Like, they don't get any, like, really cute photos unless everybody's getting cute photos. Like, I kind of see it as betrayal. Because like if you're in a relationship with me, why do you need that?
But you also said you're
like I'm trying to come to terms with it.
Yeah, I was saying because you said if your guy needs something to get him off, go ahead and do that too. Yeah. Which okay.
That also kind of puts like a border in the relationship though, because you're like I am not fulfilling your needs.
Right.
Like I'm just trying not to be like super controlling in my relationship. I was super controlling in my last. That was not right of me. I know that, and it's because I don't want to say he gave me a reason to be like that, but at the same time, like he like did things to make me think like that. So, like I'm not trying to put the full blame on him or anything, but I feel like if you're like with someone, like that person should be who you're with, and like. If you need something like that, wait for them to be able to fulfill that for you. Like, if your girl doesn't want to have sex with you, like, right off the bat, respect that. Come on. Like, like not everybody, like, wants sex right out the door. Not everybody, like, wants to be, like, fulfilled like that right off the bat. Like, you're going to be like, no, I'm going to get to know you first. Like, I'm not going to let you, like, inside before, like, you answer, like, everything that I need answered. So I feel like porn and nudes and all of that is like the biggest border in sex between like women who it actually like means something to them, and then guys that just watch it to get off.
Do you think masturbating in a relationship is a bad thing then? Because people are fulfilling their own needs?
As long as it's not like excessive. Like I get it if you're like on the road a lot or like truck drivers especially like that, like you maybe see like your person 1 or 2 times like a week, like that. I don't see an issue with it. But if you were like seeing your partner and your partner is okay with like having sex together, and then you refuse to have sex with your partner, and then you go home and like you take care of yourself like on your own, Like
when the option's out there and
like,
then you choose yourself.
Like that is wrong.
Okay.
That is wrong, especially if your partner is like okay with it and they're literally like putting themselves on the table. Like, hey, you know, like while we're hanging out or whatever, if this is something you want to do, let me know. We can fulfill that.
Right.
But if you're like seeking, like looking at other chicks' photos or watching porn instead of over your person.
Right. Especially when she's putting out all right to you.
Yeah,
and
like,
you have
like,
that option.
that's so wrong.
Yeah.
You're gonna break a lot of women. And a lot of women are going to like start refusing to have sex with men in general.
Yeah.
That's already started, but
and it started the other. I'm going to flip the table back at you because it's flipped the other way too. I mean, I know guys like myself, and we're fed up with the dating world, and we just don't.
There are so many toxic women.
There's a lot of toxic women, and it's one after another for a lot of us, and it's turned us off to the dating world completely, and it's a sad thing, but it's true. Like you can be more happy alone with a dog, you know. You could get a dog, and you know, you have a dog, and
only Siri.
Yeah, exactly. And I know more guys that are getting dogs as companions, and then you know, are really happy, you know. And it's like it's interesting because it's dating is more complicating, I think, now than it's ever been. And it's not just because of the online dating, but it's just because of the way the psychology has flipped over in general as the years have gone on. Like with sex just being thrown out there on the table, like it used to be worked for in a relationship. And I think that's one reason people actually used to stay together longer. And nowadays it's just, you know, one and done, you know, you flip the table and done.
Yeah.
And it also comes back to answer this person's question, you know, too, explicit content online. You know, a lot of guys, you know, in the bedroom, like we are expected to fulfill, you know, all the, you know, sexual toys out there. We are expected to perform as good as these sexual toys. And it makes us look bad because we're only human.
Yeah. I will say one thing.
Talking for the mic.
I will say one thing, like as a woman, like I was friends with this chick. We're not friends anymore. I have a lot of failed friendships due to like different views on like life and stuff. And like one of our things was we took like an oath where we would not use any sort of toy or anything like that unless we were like a single like for so long and we just needed something to take the edge off. But other than that, like unless like you're in a relationship and the guy buys it for you, like that's different. Like if he buys it for you, like that's different.
Obviously, yeah.
But if you go out and you buy it for yourself to fulfill the needs that your guy is not fulfilling, you do not need to be in that relationship because your needs are not being met. Yeah. And if your needs are not being met, you need to find a way to get your needs met.
Okay.
So it just kind of comes down to like simple like communication when it comes to that.
And it's also like women are so used to these toys now, and that pleasure that a guy cannot like fulfill. Yes,
it messes with it.
Yes, it does.
It's the same way for masturbation with men because you get so used to the way that you do it that it becomes an addiction, and then when you do it with a woman, it does not feel the same because you're so used to yourself.
Yeah, I get okay.
So it's also like
I'll meet you halfway on that.
meet me halfway there, because if not, this will become an argument. I'm not trying to debate with you right now. No,
that's good. That's good. Somebody asked, how do you go about hitting on a girl at the gym? What's the best way to hit on a girl at the gym without feeling out of bounds?
I have only been hit on once, like at the gym, and he did pretty respectfully. Like, we were all like, God forbid, we were all like at the Y still, and I was in there after school one afternoon, just kind of working out, getting it in like a workout. I was going to hang out with some friends, so I was like getting my workout in early so I can like just hit the gym and go. And we were gonna go swimming at the Y too, so I was like, I wanted my workout before we did that so I can cool off. And I don't remember. I think I was squatting. I was either squatting or deadlifting.
It's always in the squat rack.
Oh my God. It actually has always been in the squat rack. But I had just started like one of my heavier sets when I used to like lift super, super heavy for no reason. And he just like came up and he was like,
let me spot you.
No, it wasn't one of those. I haven't had one of those yet.
I'm surprised. I see a lot of TikToks like that.
Oh yeah, but it was he just kept asking me to like use the weights off of my squat rack to the point where he had taken an odd number of 45s and the other one like somebody else was using, and he was like using all those 45s, and I wanted like one of those, so it like made me go ask him for one of like my 45s back. And I was like, are you using one of these? Like, can I take one back? He goes, yeah, sure. He goes, how long are you going to be on the squat rack? And like, just kept like asking me like general questions about like just about my workout and like what I'm doing next. Like, not like in a creepy way, but like in like a curious way. Like, oh, like how long are you going to be on that? What are you doing after that? Like, oh, like how long are you going to be on that? Like, how many reps you doing? Like, what's your max? Just like simple stuff. Like, just kind of like, it's kind of like a motivation, like motivation booster.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, like somebody's like interested in what I'm doing, or like talk to like the chick maybe a couple times and like just kind of like ask her what her workout for the day is, ask her like her max, like what her goal is.
So small talk.
So it's like gym small talk, and then eventually be like, just at some point, just be like, do you want to work out together sometime? Do you want to like collab?
Do you want to work out together?
Not like that, Shawn. Not like that. No, like collab workouts.
Come over and get some cardio after the gym.
I mean, you can ask her that if you really want. You're not gonna get far, but
I don't know. Nowadays, you might.
Maybe. I can't with you right now. But like, I don't know, like he was like just super sweet about it all. Like he wasn't like creepy. I had a workout page before, and he like followed it and would like say like good workout today, or like see you tomorrow, or something like that. He was just like right there, but like not like in a creepy way. Like it was like he was just like trying to be a friend, but like it felt more. We did end up like in a situationship for like for like maybe a month while we were at the Y, and then I found out that like who his family was, and his family like ended up not liking me. Okay. Because I wasn't like the preppy perfect type person.
That's a weird reason. Yeah. That's weird.
I was not like, I didn't wear like the cutesy like the girly clothes. Like I didn't dress like all of the, you can call it, like the popular girls in school.
The parents said that?
Yeah. Like they were so picky. Like I wore like gym attire 90% of the time, because half the time that's where I was going.
That's where you guys met. So it's like, it makes sense.
So like his parents, like they came into the gym once with him. Like I met them like mid workout. Like he stopped my workout to meet his parents. I was like, I am dripping in sweat, buddy. This is
wow.
So
that's a weird way to meet parents.
he was like, they want to meet you after like you're done with your workout. And I was like, okay. I was like, I have like just a quick change of clothes in like the locker room. Like give me about 20 minutes and I'll be done. And I finished, and I was meeting his parents. Like I didn't know like where like the situationship was going yet, so I didn't want to be like, hey, meet my parents, because like that, like I didn't know we were on that level.
Yeah, no.
And then he like just bringing in his parents, and I was like, oh, hi. I was like, okay, like this is a little awkward. So like I met his parents, and then he said that we couldn't talk anymore because like it was just like all of their reasonings. And then all of that stuff ended up going down at the Y, and we like switched gyms like literally right at the same time. And I was like, out there. Yeah. I was like, good, no more awkward workouts.
So mainly to take away is don't be creepy.
Don't be creepy. Be like super nice about it. Don't try to walk up and like puff your muscles. You're gonna get like
go in front of her, do curls.
I did have one of the teens at like late at night that go to our gym. Uh-huh. I was there with T one night. She went to the bathroom, and I was like on the one squat rack, and he came right. So like the one that's in the corner that you guys use where you don't have to like move the thing. Yep. I was doing squats, and he came up like to like the curl rack right behind me, and was like using the mirror that the squat rack faces into while doing his curls.
Pretty obvious then.
It was so awkward trying to squat with him like right behind me, because I was watching him like my butt, and I was like, do I squat like normal, or do I do like the pretty girl squat? I'm like, we're squat like normal.
That's creepy.
I was like, okay, really freaked out. And then I was like, hey T, I'm really tired. Do you want to go?
So just don't be creepy. It comes down to.
Don't be creepy. That's like a big red flag. And if you don't know what a red flag is, it means like a warning that you are like not it.
All right. So that's going to wrap up these questions and probably wrap up this episode. I mean, we went for I don't know how long, but that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
I mean, we covered a lot of things. I
hit
think
like 6. Holy crap,
yeah,
Shawn.
it's 8. Yeah. It was a good conversation, though.
That was a good
Do you have any
conversation.
takeaways that you could give the listeners that could benefit them on their adventures in dating in this modern world?
Definitely start out straight out, like straightforward. Don't hide stuff from like your partner that's gonna create like a major like conflict like further down the road. Don't lie to them about something that has happened in your life. Like don't tell them that like you grew up in the projects when in reality you grew up in like a multi-million-dollar home.
Oh.
And you just didn't get your way. So like you say you grew up in the projects. Just be real with the person. I mean, like overall, just don't hide anything. Communication, make sure like what you're saying is not being misunderstood, and just make sure that you're looking at it from both angles.
And honesty and patience.
Honestly,
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode. Thank you, Lils. That was
welcome.
fantastic. I really hope the listeners got something out of that and
I hope so too.
are not, I mean, not, I wouldn't say afraid to go back to the dating world, but more motivated maybe to go back to the dating world.
Yeah. You just have to like, really like search for like that person that is not like everybody else.
Yes.
So talk to them longer than like a month.
Yeah.
See if they like actually stick around or if they're there for like the same reasons as everybody else.
Thank you guys for coming out. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next week. As always, guys, stay strong and God bless. Thank you, Lils.
You're welcome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and I'll get the